Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Pylon Show. We're somewhere in the 70s right now, and it's great to be here. We have just a wonderful show. I've already been having a complete blast with these nerds so far. Speaking of which, let me quickly, before introducing them, talk about how you can support the Pylon Show. Check out patreon.com/The Pylon Show. We have a new thing that we're doing where we record the pregame banter, which is always a lot of fun, and put that up. And in fact, we have one that is open for everyone right now. So you can check out last week's. Check out thepylonshow.com. After you go to the Patreon and support it. And that's where you can drop all the questions and everything. We have forums and stuff like that will be live for everyone soon, but all the Patreons get it. So definitely check that out. Anyways, moving forward, talking about our guests here today. First off, Neuro, welcome back for the umpteenth time. How are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, I'm doing well. It's been a really excellent period for me. We redid all the different peripherals and stuff. Thanks very much to Cobra Venom and the lovely supporters of my community. Better camera. We fixed the lighting. I have 2 big lights now. The audio is much better.
And I can do things like this now.
So It's been really fun. We're moving into a new chapter here in Seattle. We're like Neuro 2, basically. So I'm really thrilled to be streaming.
Excellent.
Hell yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on once again. Forgive me ahead of time if you're being asked things you've been asked before. You've been on here so many times, I forget what the hell we've covered with you.
It's all good.
But anyways, we also have, welcome back, Juggernaut Jason. How are you doing?
Doing good, man. Just playing StarCraft, playing a little bit of Halo, and just excited to just banter with M Canning for the next 2 hours about how little his race is a skill-worthy race. You know what I mean? Just no skill. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, I'm truly looking forward to that as well. And of course, for the first time ever, I've been wanting you on the show like since the inception. Definitely one of my favorite streamers out there. M Canning, how are you?
Doing well. You know, I got the DM. I heard you say Jason was going to be on here. You said you needed some entertainment, so I figured I'll show up. And yeah, looking forward to my first show. It's going to be great.
All right. And Winter, welcome back. It was good seeing you at Home Story Cup. How are you doing back home now?
I'm getting all my fill of Artosis, more Artosis than I've ever had before. I'm super excited for that, and I'm excited to try to be the neutral arbiter behind all these strong opinions from all these strong players, and probably failing horribly, but I think it'll be a fun time.
I cannot wait to hear that. Oh, actually, this is crazy. I didn't mean to do this. Like last week, I didn't mean to have 3 Terran players on, but I noticed I have a Zerg, a Terran, a Protoss, and a random player.
Balance
now, 2 of you are scumbags for your choices, so we'll get into that a little bit later on. But first, we're going to go ahead and talk about this week in StarCraft. So, of course, we have the show notes for this week in StarCraft as well. Anywhere that you're listening to this, whether it's on a podcast or on YouTube or on Twitch, we have links, and you can check it out. Anything you hear about, because I just go over it very briefly, you can find out more. So let's go ahead and jump up to page number 3, upcoming events. We have Nation Wars, of course, are occurring. There are some players flying out right now. We'll talk about that in just a second. Copa America 2019 Season 3 is coming up. The Philippines 30th SEA Games, a medaled event that has StarCraft in it. Really cool. And the Primus Cup Grand Finals in December. Okay, going forward, Nation Wars 2019. I want to talk about this just a little bit because definitely some interesting results. And we have a Nation Wars player here. M. Canning, what was your Nation Wars experience like?
I mean, it was great. It was great. It's always a little bit different for me compared to a lot of the other players because it's a different type of spotlight on me. And I think I actually would say there's almost more pressure on someone like me than compared to most of the other players. But it's an amazing event, you know, being able to, it's up there with Home Story Cup for me, where it's like, you know, you need to have WCS, need to have the scheduled events, but there's something special about these type of events. And I was honored to be a part of it. I was honored to have some fun. I was honored to put some good games, some bad ones, but it's just a fun environment, fun hearing the fans. I love it. It's great.
Yeah. I mean, that has been a highlight, I think, for the past 2 years, the videos that you make to get your votes for.
I'm quiet.
For it.
Should I turn myself up? Question?
I didn't know it was possible.
Well said.
I need to be
Yeah,
overbearing.
you do sound slightly quiet.
I can turn myself up again to where I was,
Mm.
but I don't know if that's what we need.
I've heard M. Canning has the patriotism of 10,000 Americans.
Minimum. Minimum.
Perfect.
But
I
yeah,
can redo
so
my speech. I can redo my.
yeah, go
intro.
ahead.
Hold on. Should I turn it up? I mean, the chat's telling me to turn it up, but I don't know.
That's
I don't
loud now. Ooh.
Oh god. Okay.
Just bring your mic right into your mouth.
Well, okay. This should be better. This may be
Okay.
better.
That's a good
All right,
middle ground.
all right.
Yeah.
There we go.
I need to be heard. You know, I see the chat saying they can't hear me. I'm panicking over here because I need attention. You know, that's how I roll. So
We'll get into that later.
all right. I mean, should I repeat myself or should we go on? I don't care.
Yeah, no, go ahead and tell us about your Nation Wars experience once again,
All
real
right.
quick.
I don't know if we're going to talk about it later, but for me, Nation Wars is obviously incredibly special. I'm always honored to be voted in. For me, it's up there with Home Story Cup as like some of my favorite tournaments. I think it's always very cool to get the community engaged. Something that I love about it is that like the fans are voting you in. It's like the fans can be like, I put this person in this spot to play. And I do feel, I'm always in a little bit of a weird spot because, there's Neeb, in my opinion, who is the best player in North America. And then, of course, we have a lot of other good players, Estrella, Future. But in my opinion, I'm so close to all these other guys that I feel like I deserve to be right up there with them. But, I do hear people say, like, M. Canning shouldn't be there. And I do hear people say stuff like that. So it is always a little bit of a different environment for me because I do hear, other types of chatter like that. But it's so fun creating the videos, putting on a show for the fans. And it's just fun being there. I mean, I wouldn't trade it for anything. And it's a special event for me, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, I definitely would agree your skill level is really quite up there. Jason, actually, weren't you really close to getting voted into your team?
I don't think I was close this year. This year when they were doing
No?
the voting, I was like on vacation, so I couldn't like plug it in my stream or anything. But last year I got voted in, but I had to pull out because there was like an exam scheduled on the finals. So
too bad. Well, I'm sure the Riddler did you proud. So we had the round of 8 go through. Definitely some very interesting ones. For instance, Canada almost took down South Korea. I got to watch the replays last night. No regret. Almost 3-0'd the Koreans with pure cheese, like the craziest all-ins, like slow banelings and stuff. So some awesome results. Of course, everyone is on the way right now to the offline portion, which is going to be taking place. And speaking of Nation Wars, because it is such a great event and such a big community event, like you said, M. Canning, kind of like Home Story Cup in a way, I want to go ahead and plug their Matcherino for a moment here. You can check out the Nation Wars Matcherino. It's within the show notes. And if we could bring that up, you can see they've already raised over $6,000 on their Matcherino. So definitely check it out. They have all sorts of great stuff that you can get. I think they have some in-game stuff that I already got. They have t-shirts and hoodies and baseball hats and mugs and all that. So definitely check it out if you would like to support them. And I mean, while we're on the topic of supporting people through Matcherino, check out matcherino.com/The Pylon Show. And you can contribute as well to us to help keep the show going. Hit that contribute button and type in the code. This is such a simple thing to do. The code is cookies. Not sure why. It's probably National Cookie Week or something like that, which doesn't make any sense, but that is definitely something you want to do because it helps us. And you know what? If you
It's Christmas season, Christmas cookies. It's December. Let's go. Where's your holiday spirit? Santa's not going to be able to get off the ground this year if we don't get it together.
Yeah, you better leave some of those cookies for him near the tree. Anyways, guys, go ahead and do that. We have so many people that watch the show. So if you all go there, we can max out the code and make Artosis very, very happy about that. National Cookie Day. There you go. December 4th. All right. So moving on within this week in StarCraft, we also have Copa America 2019 Season 3. The qualifiers are all set. And you can see the groups. Looks like they are spread really well with the best players spread across Special Kelliger, Cham, Eric, Jim Rising, etc. You can check that out coming up very, very soon. Playoffs on December 20 through 22nd. We also have the 30th Southeast Asian Games going on. This is a medaled event as far as I understand. You can see all the good players from the region there. Some actually very strong players. A lot of people should know, like Neomeka, the Killer of Maru. Of course, we've got Ender and Blisk and quite a few others. So you can definitely check that out. That is being broadcast as well. We have links again within the show notes. All right. So for this week in StarCraft, we also have the Liga Cubana de StarCraft 2. Immolations defeated Ryder 3-0 in number 6. This is for Cuban citizens and residents only. You can sign up over on their challenge. We also have the Master Swan Open, Sea Duckling Open. Volticus defeated Classy Crew 2-1 in the Masters Swan Open tournament this week. Congratulations. The Grand Platypus Open still going on. Demi remains undefeated with a 3-0 over Justice Simon, our boy band member. Check that out again over at cranky_ducklings at Twitch TV. We also have the Vietnam Team League Season 6. Hong Kong All-Stars defeated Heroes of God.
Wow.
It's such a good team name, you know? Heroes of God. It's like you can't be a better team than that, right? They are the chosen ones. Unfortunately, they do fall this time. But yeah, anyways, you can check that out on YouTube and Twitch. We also have that Ao Dai Weekly. Upley 3-0 over Justice Simon. This guy just can't catch a break, man. 3-0'd again too, not even taking maps in the finals, just falling apart at that point.
He went 2-1 and then 3-0.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess sometimes taking maps in the finals. Anyways, congrats to Upley for winning number 18. We also have the Legacy Weekly Japan. And no, Justice Simon didn't lose in the finals there because he's not from Japan. Tyapulin beat Kaiman 3-2-1. Congratulations. Open to anyone in Japan, I do believe. We also have the Olimo League. Number 175, Dream ends up winning 3-2 over Solar. Very excited to see what he's going to do in the future. Of course, it's cast by Maynard weekly, and you can check that out. Another great thing within the community, especially the Korean community. Check it out on patreon.com/Olimoly if you want the best replay pack that you can get on a regular basis.
I can highly recommend those. I watch them a lot.
Yeah, me too. I've been, even back when it was $15 for the replay packs, I was getting it because it was like, well, I mean, this is the best players in the world and you get a replay pack every week. That's insane. That's so good. Yes, please. Okay. Also check out Blazing Series May Season 3. Group A is done with True and Bunny coming out on top of Haas and Silky. Group B is going to happen in 4 days, and that's going to be Rex, Nice, Hurricane, and Bomber. Yeah, you can check that out over on the Freaka TV Taiwan channel. Okay, ProBots Season 3. If you are interested in bots playing each other in StarCraft 2, they are in the round of 4 with Sharpened Edge going up against Micro Machine and Gen C Bot going up against Tier.
Do they have restrictions on those when they play?
I do not believe that the StarCraft 2 bots have
27,000 APM if they want it.
I believe so, yeah. But don't take my word for it.
Okay, well,
as
you have
LeVar
to
Burton once said. Yes. Check that out over on eschamp.com. All right, the Pizza Pie Bi-Weekly Season 2. Jim Rising puts his name on the board with a pizza. Congratulations to him. Hold on. Look at that. He beat Starkiller on the way, too. This is always what I look for. Starkiller loses the round of 4 every week now.
He also beat Estrella. That's pretty impressive.
He did?
Jim.
Damn.
And he hates
Jim
Protoss.
Rising.
I'll have a word with him.
Oh, who doesn't, though, right? Well, congrats to Jim Rising for going ahead and winning that.
There you go.
Cheeseadelphia number 11. Any of you guys going to Cheeseadelphia?
I'm not sure, but I have been in the past, and they're always great. And this is an insane lineup. I don't know if you're familiar with the lineup. There's a bunch of good players going this time. It's like so many good players, and it's an awesome event. I love Joe, the guy that runs it. I talk to him a lot. I give him high praise because he's been making these work for a long time. He's been putting us in different locations, and they're always fun. They're honestly always fun.
I'd like to speak on that.
Awesome.
I was misled because there was one in Chicago, but I always thought Cheeseadelphia was just in Philadelphia, or I would have gone to Chicago. Misleading advertising.
How could you have not known that?
I don't. Obviously, I have not used the internet before.
I was there.
It's a big missed opportunity. False advertising.
The first like 8 or 9 were in Philly, Or yeah, the first probably like 8 of them were in Philly, and then he just tried to branch out this year. He did one in Denver, one in DC, one in Chicago.
Just for anyone out there, sometimes there are other places too, but this one's in Philadelphia, so don't miss it.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah, it's
indeed.
coming from the guy who missed one very close to him. Don't miss it, guys. No, but seriously, you guys should get out there. I've been to a number of cheeses, and it's an insane cast. There's like Neve special. Even Europeans are like, I love NA. I want to go to these NA events. They're like, I want to see Canning. I'm like, guys, relax. But these Cheesadelphias are awesome. I'm telling you. They are awesome.
Yeah.
I would recommend, seriously.
It is a sick lineup. Definitely one of those very fun grassroots events. So check it out December 14th and 15th. Seriously, that's 10 days away. Go to it if you're nearby. And if you're not, get a plane ticket.
There you go.
All right. All right. Next, Underdogs, number 59. We're in the round of 4. DNS against Shino, Clem against Denver, with the semifinals being played on December 11th. Check it out on O Gaming SC2 on Twitch. IMBA Force League Grand Finals. The round of 8 is decided. This is a Peruvian league that's being played, and just in 2 days they're going to start. You can, if you want to check out these players, then again check out the show notes. Coach Clash 3. We had Ilias defeat Davbond, and he took his victory for the 3rd time in a row. This is 3rd edition of the Platinum Heroes community tournaments. So they have a Discord server for both Platinum Heroes and Diamond Heroes if you are interested to find some players to practice with of your skill level. All right, Passion Craft Season 11, the round of 32, is being played on December 7th. Yeah, so there you go. Passion Craft. I don't know. I haven't heard of this one before. All right. Alpha X Civil War. $600 prize pool. Look at that. Team Sippy Cup beat Iron Curtain. Damn. All right. And look at that. Estrella and Justice Simon
They've
and
teamed up.
Sippy Cup. Look at that. They have the guy named Sippy Cup, and he's actually the team leader.
The
I tell you
M-canning
what.
of Team Sippy Cup, if you would.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Where are we going with that, Winter? I'll have a word with you after the stream.
Yeah, no problem. Patreon subs.
All right,
Dan,
guys.
can you check this
Check
real
out.
Thanks.
Sure. Sorry, a little bit
Did
loud.
we do something wrong?
No, I'm being too loud.
Calm down.
I was getting right up in my mic.
Because
I
of
was
the
like,
podcaster voice.
All right,
He's
here
like
we
2 inches
go.
from it.
Yeah.
He's like,
I'm just
"Shoutcast
excited
time!"
today.
Everybody else is normal.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Nice.
I'll sit back like this now.
Perfect.
We're having some real audio issues today. It all starting with the can, and it's going everywhere now. It's messed up. All right. The Big Gabe Invitational number 1. It's an 8-player invitational. It's being played at Meltdown Cologne on December 14th. And that's going to be a host and commentator of Hero Marine with Roddy, Naruto, and Funka all coming down to help commentate. And it's going to be on Twitch TV, Hero Marine, and Take TV, probably the German cast of that. All right. Also, we have Afrika World number 48 with Bomber, Zest, Solar, and Dream. That's going to be with Falcon Paladin and Laughing Games on Afrika TV. You want to check those 4 players out? Go ahead. E-Gaming 2vs2 Cup on December 7th, just in 2 days. Sugar is making a 2vs2 tournament with e-athletes to play some e-gaming. So check it out at Capped Canuck 35 on Twitch. Wardy TV Christmas Invitational number 4. Will anyone stop Rainer from taking his 3rd Wardy TV Christmas Invitational in a row? Jesus, was he
Is
taken when
Cyril
he
there?
was 12? That's crazy. No, I don't know. Maybe not. Well, it's a $1,000 prize pool. Check it out over on Wardy's Twitch channel. It starts tomorrow. All right, WESG continues. Rainer and Ryosis advance from the Central Europe region. It looks like
It'll be
Who
going
else do we
strong there.
yeah. Oh, okay, I see. This is all one bracket, just all sorts of different parts of it. Okay, congrats to Rainer and Ryosis, who get to go to China, I guess, for WSG. We also have in WESG, Gerald, Art, Ziggy, and Guru advance to the regional finals of the Eastern European region. Now, do not worry. That is not the final lineup of Poland going, but they will be playing against Mana, Laser Soul, and Nurcio. and that'll be on December 10th. All right. Also, WESG looks like Marsman and Djorix advanced out of the qualifiers. Djorix actually beat you Thermal 3-0, while Harsman 3-0'd Marsman to win the spot in the finals. The second Benelux slot remains TBD. Perhaps in the base, perhaps not in the base. It's hard to say. Also, in WESG, we have Marine Lord and Razorblader advancing to the regional finals from France and Monaco and United Kingdom region. Is Monaco part of the United Kingdom or something?
Monaco is next to France in the southeast.
That is a geography fact.
Oh, okay. So France, Monaco. I thought it was Monaco was being like paired with United Kingdom, which is what confused me.
Monaco.
Because I did see something crazy like that. Hold on, let's keep scrolling down. I'll show you guys in just a minute here. There's the crazy WESG qualifier. So we also had Inzane going to the regional finals from Germany and Austria region. And Lambo, Showtime, and Gung Fu Banda are already there. Top two are going to go to the global finals. WESG really picking up right now. We also have in WESG Botvinnik and Waka. That's from the Iberian region. They'll face Rote and Solier, the top one from Spain, basically, although we're calling it the Iberia region, is going to be going. Also in WESG, Kaas and Ours advance to the regional finals of the CIS region. They'll face Hellraiser and Bly, the top two. Will go to the global finals. Also in WESG, Space Marine, Wooded Microbes, Snoot and Lil Conan advance to the regional finals of the Northern Europe region. They'll face Poppy Joe, Namshur, Sort of, and Zanster. And top four qualified. Damn. Very nice.
This is an Artosis picture coming up.
And of course, from the Adriatic region, Patak advances. That's hilarious. Top one qualifies to the global finals. Patak he was the best Croatian StarCraft 1 player forever. In fact, I don't know if I can name a second Croatian StarCraft 1 player, but I've known Patak for probably 20 years. So congrats to him for still qualifying for tournaments. It's a great picture of him right there. All right. Now here's the really hilarious one. Maru advanced the regional finals from the South Korea and Mongolia region to the global finals.
Not a strong Mongolian representation there, but...
First off, rip Sioris, okay? Because Mongolia does have one quite strong player. That's so weird, though, to bundle anything with South Korea, especially Mongolia, that literally just has Sioris in it, right? As far as players that would win. So I don't see him in that bracket, unfortunately. But yeah, Maru is going, I guess, and the rest are going to be finished up today, I believe. Okay, that's all the WESG news. This week in Brood War, the STPL continues. Seoul continue their 31-1 win record, going 4-0 against Clan Revolution. And White Clan downs Nas 3-2. Of course, is casted always by Kix and Rapid. Check it out on STPL TV on Twitch. Also, the North American Autumn Star League is in the round of 4, which will be played out this week as Nyokin versus TT1 on the old school side of the bracket and Yaj versus Dragon on the new school side. We'll see who ends up winning. A very strong top 4 right there. And that can be seen on, I'm actually not sure what the Twitch channel is, but we have it within the show notes, so check it out. Also, we have the Titanus Del Ring Nation Wars. If you want to watch a bunch of Protosses beat a bunch of Terran, the Titanus Del Ring Nation Wars is the tournament for you. Cheers to Madino for beating Gosudark within this tournament. The one able to do it in that direction. But we see that it is Poland 3-2 over Canada, USA 2-3 versus Russia, and Norway 2-3 against Peru. These are really, really strong countries. So some cool stuff to check out for everyone. Okay, the BSL Season 8 has been announced. It has started. It is a ladder qualification system. It also has some new sponsors such as Esports Fund, which helps out a lot within the Brood War scene. No matter what your skill level, you probably want to enter this if you like to play Brood War because it has Pro, Gosu, and Chobo leagues, and you can probably qualify for one of them and work your way up. It also has a big prize pool as far as Brood War goes. $5,500, I believe, is the overall budget of the tournament. So definitely check that out. All right, and the Brood War G's Weekly 48. This is a Russian tournament that Koreans like to go to and win, and they did it again. Zealot ended up winning the tournament over Parfume at the end of the day. Definitely Zealot, one of the strongest amateur turning pro players right now in Korea, showing that skill. Again, you can get those replays over on the eSport Fund. All right, that is This Week in StarCraft. Yay! All right. So, whew, that brings us into the real part of the show, where
Wow.
we have the discussion. Well, that's a real part of the show as well, of course, but the discussion. That's mostly me talking. I love it when people butt in, but you guys were very quiet, so thank you for that.
We wanted to get to the good part.
Welcome.
All right, so 1 second here. All right. Now, this is, I've been wanting to get a group of you guys together because I think that this is an interesting subset of StarCraft 2 and a very important one that doesn't get talked about as much, right? So there's all sorts of different streamers. And what I called this when I made it was like personality streamers or something like that. But it's not like the best way to word it. Let me explain what I mean from it though, right? Because there's a lot of different types of successful streamers. Like there's a lot of successful streamers who actually just started as pro gamers. And that makes sense, right? These are guys that were like pro and they were really good, and then they're like, you know what, I'm going to start streaming. That's people like the Muslim, Hero Marine, Pig, Vibe. These guys were all like playing in tons of tournaments and then become streamers. Okay, makes sense. Then there's successful streamers who are like professional commentators, right? So everyone knows them and gets to know their personality in that way. And, maybe they weren't completely pros, but obviously some good players in there. People like Roddy or Nathanius or Maynard. But then there's another group of successful streamers. And these are people who were neither professional gamers, nor were they professional commentators, which makes their rise kind of interesting, right? Because there's no fame really going in. And that would be basically you guys who, you're all quite strong players regardless and have become much stronger during your time. But yeah, that's kind of how I see this group of people kind of meshing together. Well, it's very interesting because I think that you guys all kind of got your fame from streaming and have become really, really strong players anyways. You're all like GM level good players. So I kind of want to talk about that. I don't know. But let me just start with this kind of question for all of you guys. Why did you each decide to start streaming, and specifically in StarCraft 2? And Neuro, forgive me because you've been on the show so many times. I'm sure some of these questions are repeats for you, but you fit into this group very, very well. And when you started streaming, did you have like some sort of plan, or did you just wing it? So yeah, let's hear it. Who wants to start here?
I'll jump in.
All right.
I actually started streaming in like 2011, which is a while back. Because I watched it was, what was it, Ustream, and then it was Justin.tv, and then eventually like Twitch didn't even come around till like 2012 or so. I remember like the whole deal with porting names, but I was looking at like Destiny and Day 9, and I always had a tendency to talk too much. And I looked, I'm like, well, I could play StarCraft and talk a lot because I was playing StarCraft way too much. Like I was already Masters by the time I started. Like a lot of people like, well, then he got good, but I actually had to like cut back on the streaming to get to GM. But I was streaming with I was lucky to get 30 FPS past the 5-minute mark while streaming. And well, back in the day, 144p in 2011 is like 720p today. It's like, it's not great, but we'll deal with it. So some of that. And then eventually like had a few people come by and be like, here's some money, buy yourself a computer made in this decade. And just kind of went from there. But I went full time in like 2014-ish, decided to stop going to school, do some e-gaming. And I've kind of transitioned from there. I know like you can go through the whole history, but I actually don't know how M-canning started. I want to hear his story and then build off that so I can look better.
All right, I'll go. I'm not gonna one up Winter here, but I started in 2010. No, I did actually. I actually did start in 2010. I was around on the Ustream days back in the day, and Destiny was streaming on Ustream, and I remember my older brother Matt was like, "You should start streaming," and I just started streaming, and I remember asking them like, "You guys want to hear my music or my voice?" And they all wanted commentary, and I was like, "This is weird. They don't want to hear me talk." But so I was streaming a little bit back then, and then he made the switch to Justin TV, and I made the switch to Justin TV. And this was literally like my Twitch account is like 2010. Like I literally was around in Wings of Liberty. And I remember thinking to myself back then I had a quality stream. And I remember I used to actually message the Team Liquid moderators and be like, "You guys need to have a better section to have featured streamers," because I felt like I had something to give. And I'm like, how am I not blowing up? I'm like 16-year-old me is like, how am I not blowing up? You know what I mean? And I can remember feeling that entitlement when I was younger. And but I just,
And then eventually they came around.
Well, I streamed. I probably averaged around 40 viewers back then. 35, 40 viewers. And then I went away to school. I lived on campus, and I stopped streaming for 2.5, 3 years. And then eventually, I was actually watching Maximus Black. He came back to stream a day of StarCraft, and I was like, "This looks kind of fun." So then I came back and I started watching StarCraft again, and then I eventually started streaming StarCraft again. And I've just been streaming pretty consistently for the last about 5 years now. And it's like you said, where you had all the different groups of streamers, and it's something I've said many times on my stream before, where Jason is kind of in this category now because he's made Challenger a couple times. But it's one of the things that I am most proud of is being able to go from, I was Diamond, then Masters, and now I'm a Challenger player. I'm actually like a semi-pro. I consider myself a semi-pro, and it is very hard to improve while you're streaming. It is very hard. And I used to think like, oh, these guys are playing 8 hours a day. I would be insane if I played 8 hours a day, but it's not that simple. So that's like one of the things that I'm always proud about when I'm ever able to accomplish anything in StarCraft, because it is a challenge to improve while you play. And like you said, all these guys that are top players, they were pros and then they became streamers. To go from a streamer to a semi-pro is very hard. So it's something I'm very proud of. But yeah, I've been around for, pretty consistently the last 5 years, but I was around before Winter. Not that anyone, well, most people care.
I kind of rollerbladed up to GameStop and bought StarCraft 2 on day one, but we can all go down this road.
I actually, Winter DM me, said, "I saw you streaming Wings. You're my inspiration." I have that somewhere in my folders.
It was you, Day 9, Destiny. They were all about the same level. I was DMing the TL mods too.
Right. I had you as my alt account. You'd be like, "This guy's a good streamer. Get him up on the front page," right?
Now, Jason or Nero, which one of you was streaming in 2009?
Not me.
Yeah, come on. Someone challenge me.
I was watching in 2009 or 2010, but I wasn't streaming.
I got my start back in the year 1440 when the printing press was first invented.
Is that true?
There's some latency on that stream. Nero, why did you start streaming, and did you have some sort of plan?
I saw one of the largest niches in business I've ever witnessed. So esports is an emerging industry. It's growing really fast. There's a ton of hype around it. More and more people are playing video games every year. And I saw the wide chasm between the knowledge and wisdom of the fighters and the generals and the sages of old, and also just the general sports psychology knowledge, the poker tilt management, all of this mature approach to managing competition. And then you tune into Twitch and you have people screaming, calling the opponent bad, and they're effectively blinded from their own mistakes and their own inadequacy as a player. And this is a big thing where, as a broadcaster, I thought, well, what if I set an example of someone who took responsibility for my losses just consistently? And I tried to point out one or two things that I could have done better and how that's something that was in short supply at the time. So I saw that as a really big business edge. On top of that, I used to track the viewer times hours of a lot of StarCraft streams. And when I was trying to build my stream, I just tried to put in more raw hours than everyone else. You sacrifice a little bit of energy and quality when you do that. But with the uptime, you're going to catch more follows, you're going to hit more time zones, that kind of thing. So I was really just trying to slam out as much time as I physically could. And then the other main edge is probably the performance art aspect. So I did quite a bit of musical theater and acting in university. So that gave me some of the just entertainment chops. I think about being a Twitch streamer very close to being an entertainer. We are playing StarCraft, but people's time is precious to them. So you've got to represent really some good reasons for them to watch you instead of to watch The Mandalorian or some other really great show that's on.
All right, excellent.
I'd like to go back to that after
Yeah.
we hear.
Oh yeah.
Jason's
We'll
insight.
definitely dive into that more. This is more the starting. We got to let Jason talk here. I know
guess
he's
so.
Canadian, but go ahead.
Too nice. I'm not going to talk over you. So, I mean, with me personally, starting to stream, I think I started in like 2013, 2014. It was around the time that I got Grandmaster for the first time.
Did you cry?
I did not cry. Honestly, when you spend 4 years trying to get GM and then you get it after 4 years, it's not even a good feeling. It's just like it took too long, man.
It's a good feeling. Don't listen to him.
It was a good feeling. I don't want to like undermine it, but it wasn't as good as I thought it would be, which sounds silly, but so with me personally, like I wanted to get better. And 2014 Jason had a very, very bad mentality when it came to StarCraft 2. I would get mad a lot when I lost my games, and to build off what Neuro said, like I was not the person that would blame myself for my loss. Like I'm blaming balance back then, or I'm blaming my opponent cheesing me. So two of the things that you get from streaming that I think were very beneficial to me playing was one, streaming forces you to be way more consistent because you're just kind of pressured to instantly hit the Q button every time you play a game. Because if you don't, you're going to lose viewers. Like all of us here knows the feeling of not playing a game for 5 minutes and losing literally half of your viewership, which happens. And streaming helped me with that a lot. And then just being in the spotlight helped me with my mentality a lot. Like having people always watch me and trying to lead by example allowed me to build a mentality that's to this day isn't great. Like I still play games and don't GG sometimes, but it's a lot better than how it used to be. And it's helped me in countless ways getting better. Like I've qualified for Challenger twice now, and I don't think I would have been able to do that if I stayed on the same course with blaming myself for losses all the time. But yeah, that's it.
Excellent. Awesome answers, guys. So I wanted to kind of, for the general community, because we have a lot of people that stream StarCraft 2, but really sit at very low numbers and have a hard time actually building their streams. So I just wonder, like, how you guys individually broke out of that. Like, do you have some sort of tips for aspiring streamers or people who think, hey, maybe I want to give this whole streaming thing a try? Because again, you guys all came in without the real fame behind you, so it's kind of I feel like it's you guys are better to ask than like a pro gamer or a caster.
I think one of the number one mistakes people make is they're really engrossed in their growth mechanics. Like they're looking at their average viewer amount and they're looking at, can I increase this? Why is my viewer count not increasing? That's totally missing the point. You should have a content oriented focus where you should be thinking, what's the next unique form of content that I'm making? Am I doing a road to GM? That was one of the first things that I did. Am I making guides? Am I casting stuff? Am I interacting with the viewers? You need to have something fresh and exciting that's happening. Just flipping the stream on and doing ladder. Sometimes that works. It definitely works if you've been doing that for a long time. You already have a following, but you should really be trying to inject some useful content into the community, something that's fresh and exciting and new to watch for people.
I'd like to just go a little deeper into that. Like when I started really like what I was doing in 2013, 2014, what I really found, that was kind of when which it's a meme now, but like people were like, dead game. There's no, like, nobody's playing it. Nobody wants to watch it anymore. But I look at all the streams and everybody's just like trying to grind ladder and becoming saltier and saltier. And a lot of the streamers who were getting 5,000+ viewers aren't getting that anymore. And they were kind of perpetuating that. A lot of them have moved on now. But I started playing, like, one thing I noticed was nobody's playing random. For like a gold player who can't tell the difference between me and well, at the time, like Pult or whoever's streaming at like Top Grandmaster, I look like I get it every single day. I win a game. It's like, Winter, why don't you play in WCS? I'm like, oh, you are my target demographic. Like, because there are a lot more people who are worse than me at StarCraft or don't even play StarCraft than better. And I think Twitch chat and Reddit and Team Liquid all have this like a self-selecting community of people like, we want to see the very best StarCraft there is. But if I was trying to appeal to those people, I'd make a lot less money. So that the people who are watching all the time, and what I did was 16 hours a day. The first month I went full time. I was doing like 16 hours pretty much every day. And like Neuro said, it is hard. Like I've gotten a lot better at managing quantity and quality. It's important to be there at the same time every day. Because imagine like the Mandalorian is not a good example, but like Game of Thrones. Imagine if Game of Thrones, and don't get started on Game of Thrones, okay? But imagine if it was at one day it's on Monday at 6 p.m., but the next week it's on Thursday at 4 a.m. It's like, well, how are people going to know when to watch? So consistency and just finding things other people aren't doing. I think it's harder today because like M. Kenning was saying, 40 viewers back in 2014, you're like 3 or 4 scrolls down the page. Nowadays, that's going to put you pretty close up there, like if you have something unique. But a lot of people get in that mindset of, I need a ladder. Instead of what I learned over time is you build up an audience and they might not show up every day. But I've got people who've been subscribed for 5 years because they come back or they watch YouTube or something. And there's consistency. It's not about, it might not be a higher viewer number tomorrow because that person might have a life, unlike myself, but it doesn't need to be the next day and the next day. And a lot of people get bogged down thinking about tomorrow or next week and not about 3 months from now, because streaming is not like, it's not like I have a very popular video and now I'm a viral internet personality or something.
For me, I will also just say to people who want to stream, StarCraft is legitimately one of the best games to stream. I mean, of course, it's incredibly hard, but there is a stable viewership there, and there are not that many streamers. So, like, if you are trying to find yourself, like, you can be found in StarCraft because there is viewership, and there are not that many streamers. I will say, for me, my experience was, I really have insane amounts of respect for all streamers that make it, or at least, whatever make it means, because I remember me, there's so many days of low view counts. And it really, when I look at my progression on like a website and see, where I'm at now, and not like I'm anything crazy, but, it is a slow trajectory up. It's not like overnight or, a month. It's literally just a slow grind up and up and up. There's not just, a couple good games and all of a sudden I have a ton of viewers. It's just the constant grind. And the reality is, becoming a streamer, some players, if you're like a pro StarCraft player, you're like, oh, these streamers have it easy. It's an insane grind to become a streamer. And I think people don't realize how much work it takes to become a streamer and how hard it is. And, the reality is some people won't watch you. I mean, yes, it is. It's just hard to grow a stream. And you got to think, am I unique? Am I not unique? It's hard to say, what is unique? People won't watch you because they don't like the sound of your voice. They don't like the way you look. Maybe you shouldn't be talking. Maybe you should be playing team games. There's a million reasons why someone will or not won't watch you. And, it can be tough to be found. I will say, it's kind of like players that care about their APM. You really should never care about your view count. I never have my view count open when I'm streaming. It's just one of those things that I personally never think about. And it's just not really a good thing to think about. It can get you in a mindset where it's like, oh, how do I not have this many viewers? And I used to, when I was a smaller streamer, I used to do it. And I'd be, I'd have like a 20-minute game where I was like, dang, I was talking a lot. It was an awesome game. And I would see my viewer count would have dipped during that game. And it put me in a bit of a bad mindset. So it's just something I never have my viewer count open anymore. But I forget the original question, but I just will say, I know it's an insane grind to become a streamer, because at least for me, if you don't blow up, like have some moment where you blow up, it's just a slow climb,
One reminder for people, if you are pushing through that grind, is to have a sense of gratitude for the individual who chooses to follow your channel. A lot of times you'll see the highlight reels of the huge streams just getting tons of money. They just say, how about some Twitch Prime? And they get like $1,000 and all that. And people will be trying to grow their stream and they'll be saying, well, why is this not happening to me? But to have another human being out in the world who's dedicating their time to watch you and then to follow and to come back to your channel, that's a huge thing that happens. So remember the people too. It's not just a bunch of numbers. That's an amazing photograph. Is that Jason? Who's this?
Some random
Looks like
person.
a young,
I don't know who that is.
Juggernaut Jason right there.
Jason will tell you it's not him at all.
Not me, dude.
It's
Are we
Photoshop.
not
sure?
me.
Is it actually him or no?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't
It's from
tell
the-
by the glasses.
That's from the first
Well, do you have
StarCraft
a-
event I went to.
Excellent.
It is important too to understand who you are as a person and what your target demographic is like, because you're not going to be a streamer that everyone wants to watch. Like, because people have different preferences, different tastes. I'm way too weird for a lot of people on Twitch, and I'm not going to try to stream for them. So if you tune into my channel and I'm being some like stream of consciousness off the wall, like random ass shit sequence of things that are happening, and that's confusing to you, I'm not your streamer. So go look somewhere else.
I think that's super important. Like, since you're on, I guess 8+ hours a day, like most of you guys, you guys all know how that feels. And then it really, the first time somebody says something, and now of course it's a privilege to have people say anything at all, but I think a lot of people make the mistake of thinking that whoever says something represents a lot more than just that person. Because a lot of people, I wanted to say two things. One on that is, like, there are people who are not going to watch. I'm just going to second that. Like, I'm kind of a dick to Twitch chat because I know most of the people who are watching the stream are not in the Twitch chat actively saying stupid shit. So if they are, get the fuck out. Like, but wait, can I say that? Is this family
Say
friendly?
whatever you want.
Okay. And also the second thing is to think of viewers and followers not as like, I got someone to take this leap and subscribe. It's they're slowly walking forward, and then at some point they just cross the line where it's like, okay, yeah, I'll throw it out there. But it's rarely, you see those big streamers, it's just a bunch of people who are right on the edge of whatever line that they're going to cross to support you more. And you build that up over time. It's not like today I had a great stream and no, just a few more people crossed the line today than a bunch of people taking a big leap and you did something completely different. It is a grind that builds up over time. It's not like YouTube or some sort of on-demand thing because of the nature of streaming.
Huck in the
Okay,
chat was talking about
got it.
authenticity as being a key point for being a broadcaster, where your streamer personality should be you. The way that it was described to me, I think it was Katz who I was talking with about this. I had already been streaming for a while, but he described it really well, comparing it to wrestling, where the character you play is you turned up to 110%, where all the different aspects of who you are, you make those a little bit more loud and bright and dank and fresh because you have an audience who's tuned in and you're on camera. So it's going to be different from you're out in the world, like you're at a dinner conversation or whatever. If you were talking as much as you do as a streamer, you would be obnoxious, just total ass disrespect for everyone else's opinions of time. But
is why I
when we
don't
have
go
the camera
outside.
on, that's the only voice. So people expect there to be a constant stream of shit happening.
Yeah.
That's actually the number one thing that I like. I don't give people advice as a streamer. Obviously, I consider myself a commentator, but when people ask me and they're getting into commentary, the number one tip I give them is be yourself. There's very few people in this world that are not likable. If you're just actually yourself and you're not trying to fool anyone and try to play a part, I've always felt like that helps with commentary. So it's cool to hear you guys think that with streaming.
I'll add something. One of that hasn't nobody's mentioned yet, but networking is also something that's very beneficial as a new streamer. Like you'll find that the StarCraft community and the streamers in it are very supportive and very friendly. And if you're somebody that, hangs around in somebody's chat and, like joins in and participates, like I'm more likely to see you. And if I see you streaming, I'm more likely to give a host or a raid. And that's one of the things that has helped my stream personally grow the most. Like the amount of times Muslim has hosted my stream with like 2,000 viewers just because he's like, hey, I know that guy. He was in my chat memeing about Protoss the other day. It's you gain hundreds of followers, and that's how you can get like pretty significant growth. And but yeah, just like hosting streamers that play your race or similar to your style of stream is something that can be prioritized as well. But yeah, just get out there and start talking to people. Join the community.
I don't know if people have a reference, but the StarCraft community is very generous and friendly with their hosting culture. Like that's kind of a standard thing we do where we're wrapping up the stream. We look either for a stream we're following or one of the streams that's just on StarCraft at the time, and we throw them a host. From other game communities, I don't think it's quite that ingrained in what they do. It's not like that's, if you're a WoW streamer, you host a WoW stream. If you're a Dota streamer, you
I
host a
think
Dota
it's
stream every time.
partially the demographic, though. Like you got a lot of younger audiences who are like 16-year-old M canning. Like, this is the dankest shit I've ever done, and why would anyone else? Like, why would I want to host anyone else? But I think it is the StarCraft demographic, definitely.
Yeah. I will also add that I know I don't know how you guys feel about this. I think Neuro and Jason does. I know Jason at least does this. Is when you do like a try hard stream where you don't do any commentary, because like I know
I like
sometimes,
how that's become the term.
well, that is kind of what it is, but it's like I know I'll bring back a story with Cat. A couple years ago, there was a time where Katz had to rebrand himself because he was either just doing, I forget what it was. If he was just singing on stream or not enough commentary. But I remember him coming out with a Reddit thread trying to rebrand himself, saying he was going to do more commentary. And it's one of those things where, as a streamer, when you're trying to grow, it is one of those things where I feel like people make a judgment about you pretty quickly, and they will they'll see your name and they'll already have what they think about you. Now, it can be pretty hard to get people to either come back or different things like that. So it's like if they come into your stream 2-3 times and they see you're doing no commentary, they might just assume you don't have commentary. So I'd give you guys give me some of your thoughts, because I think you guys do it, right?
I'd like to. So the way I kind of reinforce that is I have an active YouTube. Like, I went full time on Twitch in 2014, but I said I'm gonna do a YouTube video every day. That includes a bunch of Actually, my most popular videos are like guides and like basic build order stuff that might not be the best, but it's out there, and a ton of people watch it. So that way, like, it kind of buffers the people. Like, people come in, they might not have an opinion of me as a streamer, but they watch my videos. So they're like, I'll watch a little bit, see if he does something I like, and not always, but that's what reinforces, like, if you want to try and branch out to other things without your view count dipping because you're not playing a ladder game for 5 minutes. I found like YouTube and other content that people can find when you're not live really helps with, I guess, buffering that.
I'll say it's
Investment and loss is a really important concept in general. A lot of times, if you want to grow something new or build something, you're going to be posting less impressive metrics in the short term for something in the long term. So you should not be too discouraged if you're trying something new. It's not going to start out super impressive. That's just how it is.
Yeah, what I was gonna say is it can be risky. Like doing a tryhard stream, if you do too many of them, you can like M Canning said, people will start to see you as the guy that just never talks and only plays the game. But that's why when I do personally a tryhard stream, I have like a 30-point font tryhard above my head with a command in it.
You assume they can read?
And people still don't know what I'm doing half the time. So it's difficult. And I've seen it when I go on, like, if I'm playing like WCS in a week or two from now, I'm usually doing tryhard streams more and more as it leads up to that. And I always notice the more I do them, the less viewers I get over time, because people don't really care as much about that for me, because when they tune into me, they want to see me talk about the games and, have my personality on the stream. So you're going to lose some amount of viewers through that over time, but it's risky. Like, you just have to, in my opinion, not overdo it too much and just like stick to your roots a little bit as well. But yeah, I can't.
If I had to guess, and you guys can maybe give a number for this, what is the cost of commentary on stream to your MMR? I think it's about 300 for me. If I have music going, alerts popping off, people in the chat, I'm talking and I'm playing, versus stream is off and I'm just focused fully on StarCraft 2.
I sometimes play better while commentating. I guess it depends. It actually really depends on how much sleep I get, I've noticed. I usually have some trouble sleeping. That affects it more than if like days when I know I'm not going to play well, I commentate a lot because I'm going to play bad anyways, so might as well talk. But I'd say 300 is on otherwise ideal conditions. I'd agree with that. 2 to 300 probably.
Yeah, sounds normal to me.
And who cares about the difference if you're in gold? But for
Right.
you guys,
Right, I
maybe.
agree. No, I agree. To me, I don't play that much off stream. I would honestly say my MMR on stream and off stream is very similar. I actually don't think my stream affects me that much. I mean, like, yeah, I'm reading chat and stuff, and I'm sure there is an impact, miss something on the map. But really, I honestly feel like I'm pretty similar skill level on and off stream. And it is one of those things where it's like, the reality is, 99% of viewers don't care. If you're ranked 10 Grandmaster or ranked, 180
Statistically,
Grandmaster, nobody
over
really cares.
99. Like,
But it is one of those things, like Jason said, especially, if you're trying to, it's something that you care about. It's like when I lose 8 games in a row on ladder, it's like, nobody really cares that you're losing these games. You know, like if I'm watching Winter stream and he loses 8 games in a row, I don't care.
I'd never play 8 games in a row.
It's like, you know, it literally doesn't affect me at all. But it's, you know, when you're streaming, at least for me, you know, I lose 8 games in a row, I'm like, you know, I care. So there is kind of that piece as well.
It
although
affects
this
your
isn't as related.
mindset. Like
Right.
if you're positive about the stream, you're winning a lot, you're feeling good, right? But you're
Right.
not winning, not feeling as good. That's just how it is. So like, it kind of comes
Yeah.
off pretty easily.
Yeah. Well, if I had your sub count, I might be feeling good. But you're
No. You just complain about random things and
there you
people
go.
make me
Okay.
feel better. Thank you.
I'm learning.
guys.
I got my notepad out.
One note for this too is I think that people who are in the Diamond to Masters range are way more active in Twitch chat on the StarCraft subreddit and on Team Liquid. So it creates that conception that all the people care a whole bunch about your performance right now, where I think the vast majority of viewers don't really care that much. If there is a 300 MMR difference, they would prefer to hear you talk rather than for you to play a little bit better, because it's a very small subset of your viewership that's going to see that difference.
Look at Vibe right now. He's doing his Bronze to Grandmasters, and he gets solid viewership. Is it better than when he's playing ladder? Significantly. And I learned that a while ago. Like, now I usually just beat up on my viewers because there's a endless supply of platinum and diamond leaguers looking to be on stream for a little bit. But I mean, I think we're just going around saying, yeah, nobody really cares if you're 5,000 or 5,500 because most of them can't tell the difference. But I think it affects. I'd agree personally. It affects me, like how I'm playing. Like I don't feel qualified if I'm sitting at 5K MMR instead of like solid like GM. Then I'm a little. I feel a little less qualified to be like, yeah, I think balance is good or balance is bad, and answer some different type of questions, even if people couldn't tell the difference. So.
Well, it also depends on what kind of commentary you're doing. So there's commentary where you're interacting with chat, and that actually physically takes your attention away. So you're going to play a lot worse if you're doing that more. But there's also commentary where you're just talking about the game and explaining what you're doing. I think when I'm doing that kind of commentary, there might be like 100 MMR difference. But if I'm like actually answering questions in chat, I'm playing like 300, 400 lower than normal.
So that's how it is.
That's what we
accept it.
call presence of
I
mind.
think we've beat this topic harder than our MMRs.
I
No,
will
that's
also
it.
say on
Great
a
answers.
let me jump in real quick. You know, the thing I gotta say, this is not actually as stream related, but it is something I have thought about. Roddy would back me up on this. Is that people
Pulling the Roddy card.
now it's a little bit different, but people care. Like people say like their peak MMR, and it's on like a barcode nobody knows about, right? And it's like I'm climbing on an account everyone knows I'm doing, and I'm streaming. So you know, someone like tries to chirp at my MMR, and it's like, dude, you're on a barcode that I've never heard of, right? So you know that's why sometimes I think about when I'm streaming. It's like people don't. The thing is, people don't really care if you're on a barcode. I mean, some people do. Roddy does. And, you know, I do whatever Roddy says. But the thing is, you know, people like if I was, you know, a lot higher ranked on a barcode, would people actually be like, wow, that's more impressive?
No.
The pros would. And if you have respect for the pros, maybe Cyril's going to sauce me a dono. So we'll see.
I need to add something like really important to that. And I want like all the new streamers in the chat to like really listen to this really carefully, because this triggers me to no end. If you're a streamer, play ladder on an account that is named after your Twitch channel or your brand. Stop playing under barcodes. It's not helping you. You know what happens when I play Polt and he has 2,000 viewers and I queue up as Jason and I play him? Do you know what happens? All his viewers will come to my channel to watch both perspectives. You know what happens when I play under a barcode? They say, who is this 5.1K absolute garbage NA player? Like, stop playing under different names. Sorry, I'm done.
Well,
I like
to
it.
build off that point, there's also the priority of your viewers over someone who may stream snipe you or stream cheat off of you. That does happen sometimes. If you're visible, if you have no delay, if you're on, it can happen, but it's comparatively rare.
I don't think many people actually
experience.
stream cheat.
I think it's
a lot of people
rare.
snipe, I think.
Better you
Some
get
people
the
barcode
less.
because they're trying to dodge that, though, was the point.
Ah.
If that's your worry, that's
We're
not
streamers,
your target
not
demographic.
players. That's why we're here.
You're not streaming for the stream cheaters. You're streaming for the lovely community that you have in your chat.
No, and I feel you. Like that's something that you have to overcome as a streamer, and some days it can be bad, and you can definitely benefit from another account for that reason. But I really truly believe that your main account and the one that you play on frequently should be the name of your brand, or else you're just giving away so much potential growth for free.
Oh, I like it. So you guys kind of already have been talking about how it's a grind and it takes a long time to build up your stream. But was there ever a moment for any of you that like kind of the momentum really started, like a tipping point where it went up more steadily from there, like a certain thing? Maybe it was, you know, another big streamer hosted you, or you figured out how to do a certain thing, or whatever it might be. Was there a point like that, or was it really just that very, very steady?
From my perspective, you get maybe 2 or 3 lucky breaks a year that you can't plan for. It's just something goes viral. Like my Neuro Burrow video got retweeted maybe 4 years ago, where I'm attacking someone with roaches, they're BMing me, and then I burrow my roaches and I duck under my desk at the same time. And then a bunch of people were like, "Oh my god, that's so dank." That got my name out there. When I was invited to the Pylon show a whole bunch, that was a big boost for me. The different promotions and stuff have been a really big blessing for the growth of the channel. So it's one of those things where if you put in the work and you demonstrate the results over time, you will have opportunities that you can capitalize on.
Okay.
I'd like to. I definitely agree with that. But for me, it was I put some work in. Like after I'd gone full time and I was feeling pretty decent, I actually for 2 weeks played on a barcode, no commentary, 2-minute delay. I got Grandmaster the first time, and that was a big deal. And then I punched a hole through my door and ripped down my green screen. It was very exciting. Unlike Jason, who apparently doesn't get excited about everything or anything. But and that's why people watch. But so I kind of got there, and then I realized like it's a lot of work to maintain. Like I was Grandmasters like Zerg and random, and I'm trying to do all these other things. Then later in the year, I decided to like kind of just take a step back, and I did 100 days. It was a whole thing. Like you make whatever you can do to make it a thing, even if it sounds corny. I'm like 100 days. I streamed 100 days in a row because I was pretty bad. Like I was saying, like Game of Thrones on at different times. I was pretty bad about a schedule. I started like 3 a.m., 3 p.m., whatever. Stream for 16 hours, but who knows when it's gonna start. But that's when I started. Like I started at 9 p.m. Eastern, which I try to keep to this day. And I went from probably during that time went from this was before the days of Twitch Prime, so all that, but went from like a subscriber count that was like I can probably keep doing this to oh yeah, this is my career because people were seeing after a month or two, and then by the end of it, I proved I guess consistency, and I pushed enough people over that line that they just think of me as that guy who's going to be on at this time with something that I probably want to watch, even no matter what it is, whether I'm playing that or I play team games, whatever. But I committed to that 100-day thing. I've been thinking about doing it again. Like it's just a good thing to do every once in a while. But I learned a lot about make it a thing, even if it sounds dumb. Make it a thing. All right. Then it's not just oh he's playing that or he's like doing commentary. It's a thing now. So that's important.
Think for me, it actually was Legacy's launch. When I looked at my graph, it was, I was probably averaging around 70 or 80 viewers. And then when Legacy came out, I started averaging like 180, 190. So that actually was a noticeable boost for me. But I mean, besides that, it was kind of just a grind, I would say. I mean, I don't have a ton to add besides just putting in the hours. And then, the thing is, as a streamer, you do go up and down. Sometimes you'll have a month where you have more viewers and then less viewers. And it can be actually mentally challenging to stay, not to get discouraged. I think sometimes people get so caught up on it all. And it's such, something you don't really want to go too crazy about. I will say I have had, a decent number of things on the Twitch front page. Front page always is really good. Helps you put for streams after and stuff. But that's like last 2 years, which have already been somewhat established since then. That wasn't really on my come up, I would say. So, but like, yeah, Twitch front pages and then things like this, these things can always help. And, maybe making Challenger back in the day and having decent runs and stuff could have helped me. But it was Legacy's launch that really where I started getting a little bit more traction.
Yeah, I think the wow moment for me where I was really excited and felt like I had penetrated the StarCraft scene was when I went to BlizzCon and I was just standing in line for the questions where we're bringing up different stuff. And I asked if we could have a resource counter on the drone, SCV, and probe, where however much they've mined over the course of the game, you got a number for that. And I feel like that would really show the value of workers in the game. And David Kim said, "Thank you, Neuro, for streaming so much of the Legacy of the Void beta." And I was like, well, shit. Like, people have noticed. That's fantastic.
That's awesome.
How about you, Jason? Anything that sticks out?
I mean, pretty much the same as Neuro. Like, you get maybe 1 or 2 really big viral moments a year, like a YouTube video that goes viral, or like a couple big hosts from a really big streamer. Like I said, Demuslim has hosted me with a huge amount of viewers. I even got a Beyond host once for like 4,000 viewers, and I got like 500 followers from that. And it's bound to happen if you're consistent enough and you stream at the right times. Like, it's going to happen eventually. These opportunities will present themselves to you. Yeah.
I'll just
Cool.
real quick piggyback off
Yeah.
that. Like, part of the reason, the reason I started, because I say to people I work 9 to 5, but the other one, because I stream 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. my time, which is different in Europe and all that. I'm very good at time zones now, but I think you do have to recognize, like, there's not much competition. I mean, the guys here mostly, but at that time of night, it's kind of like being a big fish in a pond as opposed to like a whale in the ocean a lot of the time. Like, because if you're streaming at, say, 3 p.m. Eastern time, that's 9 p.m. in Europe, but also every other streamer is on in StarCraft and throughout Twitch. So you got to recognize, like, are there other I will do that. I'll notice, like, there, I don't know, Polt or Special, or if parting, they're all playing ladder. Maybe this is a better time to do some casting, stuff like that, kind of recognizing where you are right now if you're really looking to bring in new people. So the timing is important, like creating those breaks, I guess, a little bit too.
Oh, I've like completely changed my streaming schedule based on when other streamers are streaming. Like, it's
If
unreal
they
how
remain consistent.
yeah, like, yeah, and they're inconsistent. It's like most difficult thing in the world, but it's unreal how I can be streaming at the same time of Hero Marine, and I'll have like 150 viewers, and he goes offline and 400 viewers in like 10 minutes. So that is like definitely something to look out for. I don't even stream when WCS is on. Like, I don't take days off, so that when a WCS event comes along, those are my weekends off.
Yeah, stuff like that. That's super
Yeah.
important.
Well, that's a good transition. I want to ask you guys, like, how do you decide where to put your efforts for your stream? Like, you already talked a little bit about it. Like, for instance, Jason, you might do a few more try-hard streams as you approach like a WCS event that you're playing in or something. But obviously, you've talked about various pieces of content that you've tried, like the Bronze of Grandmaster or whatever. But how do you decide where to put your efforts? Like, are you trying to, practice a certain amount to get to a certain ladder rank? Are you deciding to put more time in off stream and building assets for your stream? Obviously all of you are strong players, and at times you've made runs towards Challenger, towards GM, whatever it might be. But yeah, how do you look at that and kind of balance that out for yourselves?
Well, I'm very lucky personally. I have a lot of really good friends that are very much into the tech side of streaming. So they help me a lot with anything that I have to do outside of actually streaming. But personally, like, if I have the option between like streaming an extra hour or, fixing something on my stream, like, I always want to stream more. But
It's the easy choice, not always the right one, though.
yeah, I always prefer like more hours streamed over anything else. But it's it's tough. Like, sometimes, like, I get drained out after an 8-hour stream, and I just watch Hero Marine stream for 4 hours just to learn new builds, and it gets you after a while, but it's worth it. That's all I can say.
I think using your inspiration as the main anchor for what you're going to focus on is really good for your longevity as a broadcaster. I think if you feel arm twisted into doing a certain kind of thing over time, you feel trapped and chained and upset and stuff. And we talked about that a little bit with regards to expanding into something else. So when Classic WoW hit, I just played only that until I got level 60. And that made a lot of people grumpy, but it was something that I wanted to do. So that helped me just for my long-term morale and enjoyment of being a live streamer. It made me feel like I had freedom, which is super, super valuable. And I think that increases your creative energy for sure.
I definitely agree with that. I'm always looking, like, I'm gonna go back to YouTube, because YouTube is where it's a lot more, I guess, calculated on what you're putting out there, because you can't put 8 hours on YouTube a day. Um, and YouTube, I still think is a big part of why I'm consistently, well, now I can play some other games and not be worried too much about like, oh, I didn't put in 6+ hours of StarCraft today, so I don't know what next month is going to look like. But I try to. So my method is every week I take one day off. It's on Thursday. I originally took Thursday off because you know who takes Thursday off? No one. So that way I'm always streaming when everyone else has their time off and is watching streams.
It's true.
But so I try to, like, throughout the week I have things like I have marks I want to hit. Like I do Bronze League Heroes nowadays, since nobody else was taking that up. I decided, like, well, I was already doing replays of lower level players. It's like, well, nobody else is doing this, so might as well get some of that. I try to do some of that. You got some like pro games. Sometimes I'll do show matches with players. Some of you guys have been part of that, but I try to mix in on YouTube content. I'll have a few things that are like, well, here's just a fun cast or a pro game. And then a couple things that are a series, like there's the Bronze League Heroes, which is established. And then I have my own thing, which is Angry Coach, which is pay me to coach your shitty replay. Because I don't want to do actual coaching because most of you don't need it. You just need to stop making 40 Zerglings when you just lost all your Hydras and have 5,000 minerals in the bank because you're platinum. So fuck you, pay me, and also turn that into content. Like that's part of what am I good at and what don't I care about. And I don't care about if those people personally improve. I just care about making fun of them, and then everybody improves. So just starting out, I was trying to be. I still have guides that are like, I want to help you, and I do, but not all day. So I have times when I recognize all those things, and then I try to play a certain amount of ladder games because I know there are people who want to watch that. But it's a lot of variety, and I try to read like how I'm feeling, as well as what kind of stuff I've done this week, and then if there's a tournament or something, like maybe I want to look at some of those replays and get that out there in a timely manner. But it does change week to week, but I try to plan at least a week ahead what I'm going to be doing generally throughout the week.
So to match that, I think it also comes down to a lot what you want as a broadcaster, because like, for example, for me, I've made Challenger, I don't know, 4 or 5 times, and I compete, and like every time we have like a WCS Challenger qualifier, it always becomes a situation where, like, Jason, for example, he'll stream his run through the bracket, and usually I won't stream my run through the bracket. And it'll be this fine line where it's like, it's kind of like Neuro playing World of Warcraft, where it's like, I don't really want to miss the stream, but it's like I also want to compete, something I want to do. Because sometimes, especially with StarCraft, especially if you're grinding 1v1s, your MMR fluctuates so much that it's hard to give yourself like an actual goal, especially once you become a grandmaster, where it's like let's say you hit like 6,300. It's hard. You're not just going to be 6,300 and then you're trying to be like, okay, I want 6,500, because you're going to dip down. So I think just trying to create, a goal, whatever goal is good for you, maybe just trying to become a better broadcaster in a general sense, where it is so hard to be like, sometimes it's so hard to set a goal in the game. I feel like, it depends, of course, like me and Winter would have a much different stream type, but it's one of those things where I think you have to try to figure out what's right for you. Maybe you want to bring more energy on stream or less energy on stream or more Twitch chat. It depends. But trying to figure out what you think is going to be most successful for your channel, I think.
Let me ask you a question, M. Canning, because you said you don't stream your WCS qualifiers, which I've
Right.
noticed. What would you say your inspiration is for winning WCS Challenger or like qualifying? Like, what is your goal by qualifying for that?
I appreciate the question, actually. It's one of those. My goal is it's kind of just to prove to everyone that I'm not just a streamer, and because I've gone to such a level where I can beat pretty much anyone, and I mean most of us can do that, but it's one of those things where it's like, for me, all the grinding pays off, and actually it's something that I love to tell the stream as well, is because I don't play customs. I don't really. I mean, I do watch my replays a little bit now, but I didn't have practice partners. I literally have gotten to WCS Challenger and to the semi-pro level just by grinding the ladder. I'm not doing all these hoops and stuff and doing all these different things. I'm literally just grinding the ladder. Like, you can literally become good by just grinding the ladder. And I think, it's always massive for me. Like, for me emotionally, it's always massive qualifying, because sometimes I can feel like I am in that mode where I'm just grinding games needlessly. I kind of need that, thinking like, okay, yeah, I'm still playing pretty well. So for me, getting challengers, just kind of the validation that, yes, I am one of the best players in North America, and like thank God I was able to show it again because
How
it
do you
means a lot to
cope
me.
when you don't make it? Like if you
It
put a
does
ton of
suck
effort in.
because it sucks honestly because especially there have been times that I've definitely been upset. You know, I'm inconsistent like we all are, and it sucks, man, because I do think I am one of the top 16. I would imagine in North America. I'm one of in my now this is becoming the me show here, but I I do feel like I should always make it. So you know, to not make it, I mean, the thing is, StarCraft is such a tough game, and the games can be so hard. Like I do understand that, you know, sometimes the games just don't go your way. Like I can understand that, and but people don't really understand that. They're like, oh, you know, how'd you lose to this guy? And it's like, dude, StarCraft is tough, man.
And you don't ban them?
And then I'm like, dude, it's always tough because like I won't make challenger, and then I'll have like a heartbreak loss, and then people will come into my chat and they'll be like, hey, I saw one of your games, you know, how'd the run finish? And I'll be like, oh yeah, let me tell you how I lost. And it's like, let me run you through those matches.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Twitch chat just makes it way worse.
they do. So yeah, I don't know. I just it's just for me, it's a mental thing where it's like, okay, yes,
It's
I'm still playing well.
inspiring how much you obviously care about it. Like I find it because I'm obviously a lower level. I've never like it just felt like the diminishing returns were far too much to
Right.
justify it.
It's yeah. I mean, it's all about what you want and what you want to do. I mean, the thing is, you know, I'm just such a competitor that it's hard for me not to care. You know, even when I'm playing random ladder games, because the chat, like I said earlier, the chat doesn't care if you're winning or losing. They really don't care. Maybe they want to see you lose.
Well,
but they
besides those
anticipate.
3 guys, but besides them.
Right, but so like they don't really care. But the thing is, you know, I care, so it matters to me. So it's gonna matter to the stream, something like that.
This whole question, I think, about M. Canning's passion connects with what Miyamoto Musashi was talking about in a person's training and warriorship. StarCraft is a solo thing. It's an opportunity for us to channel our fighting spirit into something where we can defeat tough opponents and improve and show the world that we can make something happen. And also just prove it to ourselves and how fulfilling that is as a process. You don't have to navigate the politics of business. You don't have to deal with paperwork and bureaucracy. All you have to deal with is a bunch of really weird all-ins and BM. And you can persevere through that and hit your goals and hit your metrics. And that's amazing. That's one of the reasons why I chose StarCraft as the game to stream was I'm not getting carried by a team. I'm not having a teammate throw the game. This is me playing the game. If I get GM, I got GM. And everyone can kind of show their own results and see their fighting spirit manifest through the game.
I love it. Love it. This we've kind of, you guys have hinted at it throughout all the questions, but I do want to get kind of like a more substantial answer because this is especially something that my chat is always kind of bugging me about. How do you balance playing well and interacting with the chat during the game? Because it feels like, it's funny, M. Canning, because you said you thought that StarCraft 2 is a great game to stream. Whereas I look at it and I'm like, Hearthstone is a great game to stream, right? Because you like don't even need to look at anything. Right. And you can talk to the chat the whole time. But in StarCraft 2, it's so fast paced. You have to put in a lot of attention. Nero, you already kind of mentioned before about how much MMR drops off. So because you're commentating on stream. So how do you guys like balance the playing well versus the chatting?
I mean, I guess I'll jump in. And I probably have a different opinion because most of you guys, because I truly feel, I don't know the way I've worked it or what, but I truly don't feel like the chat impacts me as much as maybe some other times. Like I the thing is, it's hard to have a true reference point because I don't play much off stream. I don't know how much you guys actually grind off stream because you play so much on stream. It's hard to really be like, okay, now I'm going to play 5 more hours of StarCraft, you know? So it's a little bit different, but I will always pretty much always prioritize the chat just because, I mean, the thing is, it is tough because some people don't like it when you read the chat. They're like, okay, I want you to focus more on the game. I'm like, well, no thanks. And but I think people like the interaction more often than, you know, just playing. But, you know, for me, and I'm gonna have a difference than you guys, but I feel like the chat is always more important. And I also feel like for me, it actually is a pretty even balance. I feel like it doesn't actually impact me in the game that much. But yes, they're still at fault for all my losses.
This fucking clip, dude. I was really tilted in my stream yesterday. I was just losing a bunch and I was playing on KR. So my MMR was lower than my NA MMR. And I got 20 questions after every loss of like, why did you play so bad, Nura? What should you have done differently and all this? And someone, I think it was Cobra X, he linked this clip of Up a Tree's stream and I was just rejuvenated and refreshed. He gets it.
Yeah. Are we gonna play that
You
clip?
thinking about
or-
streaming
You wanna
StarCraft
summarize
2?
it?
Watch it.
Oh, dude, do you lose all your games?
I'm not up to date on all things.
We're just
Sal.
looking at a screenshot of it.
Also,
Oh,
when
okay.
people call you terrible, do you get upset about it?
Gotcha. We'll look at the clips after. I think we have some clips lined up for the segment, but yeah.
How do you handle it when
Yeah,
people
Jason
look at you
and,
dead in the
Winter,
face
how do
and
you
say they
guys
wanna fuck your
balance
feet? How do you feel about that?
that playing well versus talking with the chat?
Well, for me, like a significantly lower percentage probably than any of these guys is me actually playing. So, like at this point, there was a time a few years ago, it was probably like 70-80% playing to 20% other, but now it's closer to 50-50. So when I am playing, people are like, oh, he's playing. He's probably not going to respond to the chat because there are so many other times. So I balance it out by having so much other stuff. So probably not a helpful example, but that's how I handle it.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the more you talk to chat, the worse you're going to play. It's just how it works. Personally, how I deal with this is I will tend to interact with chat more at the start of the game because I can do a build order with my eyes closed and talk to chat. It's not difficult. But as the game progresses, I start to commentate more on the game itself instead of what's going on in the chat because I don't have to look over to look at the game because I'm already looking there. So it's all about like constantly talking on stream, and I think that's more important than anything else. So as long as you're doing that, I think you're in the right direction. But yeah, like there are days where I just don't even look at chat because I'm like, I am losing every single game today. I cannot look at that chat
Emote mode.
because if
Alright.
I look over there, what I'm gonna see is streamer. You know what? if you didn't get supply blocked so much, you would have won that game. That's what I read.
That's why would Thor's would have been good there.
Have
Why
you
didn't
tried
have-
Yeah.
If you gaze long enough in the Twitch chat, Twitch can't gaze back into you.
Actually, they're gazing at you the whole time. That's
So
the-
a point of
I need that
consideration
button.
here
My
is
God.
it's the value of your content. The value of your content isn't just the gameplay, especially if you're a full-time streamer in this demographic and category. It's also the interaction. Just being noticed is a big point of value. Some people, they feel kind of lonely. They feel kind of left out and whatever. And just having a streamer connect with them on a personal level and talk about their day is huge for people's just happiness on a daily basis.
That's why Monroe's here.
Sometimes they feel discouraged. They've lost a bunch of games. They see their favorite streamer also losing a bunch of games. They feel a sense of solidarity right there. That's a point of value. They tune into a stream and there's some really important conversation that's happening. The streamer talks about it in a way that's helpful for them. That's a huge point of value as well. So you have all these different aspects of the interaction of the live streaming platform of Twitch. StarCraft is our game of choice, and it's a beautiful and magnificent game, but it's not the whole value of the broadcast.
I like what you say there. I always feel it's cathartic if I'm like every time basically I see Flash lose to something stupid on a Brood War stream, I'm like, it's like better than an orgasm for me. I'm like, yeah, that's it right there. Excellent. Okay, so one kind of final question for you guys on the streaming subject here. What do you all see as like the future of your brand, of your channel? Are you like just into StarCraft 2? Do you see yourself expanding at all? Or I mean, maybe you don't really think about it too much. You're just enjoying the now. But what are you looking at towards the future?
Well, I'm in this thing for I'm in this thing primarily for influence. I think live streaming is a really fun aspect of content creation because it's breathing and it interacts with the community in the chat. So it's not just people having scripted content that they produce ahead of time and it's all driven from them. The chat is a part of the story. And oftentimes that interaction is really where the knowledge comes from. If you add up all the IQ of the chat, it's way smarter than the streamer. I mean, the streamer may have more expertise in a particular domain, but there's so many really nice and interesting people there that it just makes it a super fun experience. So one thing that I've been doing to try to branch out and make meaningful content for me is connect with other people who have really nice expertise in areas where I'm a total noob. So politics, foreign policy, economics, I do that every Sunday. I don't know shit about that. I don't read the news. I don't watch TV for the news. I don't read the internet for the news. But I have a good friend who's really learned in that front, and that's his hobby. He just loves reading BBC World News. So we bring him on. We talk about stuff. I'm the host. He's the expert. We have Eche Fatum for philosophy, and we just started a math podcast as well with Brett. So being able to make content not necessarily for more money or for more revenue, but because you think that it's worth making. That's a really big point of managing your morale and being proud of your own work.
My goal is to be more like Neuro.
Neuro should have
That's
gone.
my goal
Neuro-
too, and I'm
Neuro
never
should've-
going to reach.
He should have gone last. Jesus Christ.
Well, anybody want to follow that?
I mean,
I'll follow it. Yeah,
go
it
ahead.
doesn't matter. The thing is, for me, I'm thinking about bringing on a PhD guy this Friday. No,
Is it you?
I'm actually pretty realistic with myself. I graduated college 2 years ago in December, so I've been full time for exactly 2 years now. And it's one of those things where I am realistic. If I see my sub count going too low, or whatever, I would be open to exploring outside options outside of streaming. I do love streaming. I do love being a part of it. But I'm really not as streamlined like that, because I have no idea what my plan is 2 years from now. I really, I'm more, I guess I go with the flow in a way. But I see how things are going, and I keep my options open. And I think, it's hard because 3 years ago, would you have told me I was playing StarCraft 3 years from now? I don't know if I would have said yes, I am. So it's hard for me to really say what I'm going to be doing 2 years from now. I really have no idea. I hope I keep growing on Twitch, but I am open to the possibility that other things might be out there. But it'd be hard for me to ever really give up streaming. I'm not making my farewell tour on Pylon show right now. But it's I don't really know what the future holds, to be honest. I just hope to keep growing, I suppose.
Cool.
Yeah. For me, I mean, kind of what you both said, but like personally, the reason I enjoy streaming the most is because I like to imagine that for at least one person every, few months, I make their day slightly less shitty. And that's something that I don't think I could do in any other job in the way that I'm doing it in this job. So 5 years from now, I hope I'm doing the exact same thing and playing StarCraft. I'm always working on new types of content. I've been practicing that piano that's in the frame right now for the last 6 months. And I hope to one day be able to do music streams. That'd be something that I really hope I can do one day. And Twitch chat would be nice about. Probably won't be nice about it, but I still want to do it. But yeah, I really hope that I still get to do this.
That's nice.
Winter, what about you? What's the future?
I'm much more, I don't know, I guess standard business oriented. I do agree, like as hard as it is for me to drop the sarcasm for a second, I do say as part of my intro, I hope your day gets a little bit better. And that's true. Like I do want people to enjoy it. Maybe not specific people, because I've dealt with Twitch chat for far too long, but I've met so many incredible people, like people working in high powered jobs in like of course plenty like one of my I toured Google because of one of my subs invited me out, like stuff like that. And then like in the arts, there are just so many people in that demographic, like just intelligent people who like StarCraft way smarter than me. And I've had a lot of experiences with that. And also I still like, I treat StarCraft is my job, right? But I've really been trying to have hobbies, which is something I didn't have for a while. It was StarCraft like 95% of the time. On stream, it's now like 70%. I've been doing other games, like played a little bit of Outer Worlds. Like sometimes I play Rocket League, like Slay the Spire type of different games that have niches on Twitch. And it's not like I'm just doing it for fun. Sometimes it's like I want to try to make something of this, but I still think StarCraft, I'd have no interest in it not being my main focus. I really like it. I still think it's the best game in the world. There are other good games which I'm enjoying, but just focusing more on like quality and quantity on YouTube, and then on Twitch, really trying to focus on what works for me, and maybe not putting quite as many hours in, because 12 hours a day on average is a little much. But just really, I guess, zeroing in on exactly what I like. Just one other point I try to make every week. I don't do it every week, but I do job research on Twitch. Like, there's a lot of stuff that I do on my stream that, like, production stuff and behind the scenes. I look at streamers. I'm like, who's doing cool stuff? And I'm like, how can I do that? And I try to do that once a week for like an hour or so to find something that might work for me.
Yeah.
Good answer.
I'll just add that I do think streaming is just, I think we can all agree that streaming is just such a unique and special job because like the guys have said, there are so many people out there that can jump into your community that, like maybe they got stuff going on. You can really change someone's whole day, just by having your stream online. People always come in and be like, I'm so happy to see you online. And it makes my day when they're like, hey, I love that you're here online right now. So there's just something unique about streaming that it's hard to explain to, like my parents, for example. They don't really grasp it all, but it is a special thing. It is a special thing.
Awesome.
One reminder too for morale of the StarCraft scene, because I know it's been kind of up and down over the past couple months. Have some faith in yourself, people. Like, the amount of passion that is in a StarCraft fan is 10,000 of a fan of some other game. So through the swings of months and years, we're surviving, we're thriving, we're energized. The people who love StarCraft love it so much. And as streamers, we're very thankful that you love it so much that we can continue to stream it, even though it's not a top 3 popularity game. We make up for that with our enthusiasm, and that's not missed on us. We're very appreciative of it.
Well, I'll back that up with actual statistics. Compared to YouTube Gaming's average revenue, my revenue on StarCraft videos is worth over 4 times as much. So it's literally worth 4 times like a Minecraft video. Like, just because a 25 to 34-year-old from Silicon Valley is worth more than a 13-year-old from pick somewhere. So, like, literally, even if it's not getting the viewership or quite like the viral marketing, it is a valuable community in so many ways, including money, in case that wasn't clear.
All right. Any final words on this subject about streaming, guys, before we move on?
No? Literally talk all day, but I'll save that for mine.
This has been just an awesome topic. You guys are really well spoken on it, so thank you so much. That was really, really cool, and I think it'll help a lot of people, actually, including myself. Even though no matter how bad I want to stream more like Neuro, it's never going to happen. I think we have some supporting clips that we can go ahead and play before jumping to our next topic here.
Oh, Jimothy, listen to me. And I said, what, Grandma? She said, just because someone is mean to you doesn't mean that you need to be mean to them back. And I said, Grandma, was it weed? What was it? And she said, Jimothy, stop. This is serious. If someone is mean to you, be nice to them. Because you might be the first person who is nice to them all week. You don't know their life. You don't know their story. You need to be the nice person in the world. You need to set the example. You don't need to wait for someone to be nice. To be nice. You start out your day nice. You eat lunch. Nice. You have dinner. Nice. You have dessert. Or not if you're on a diet. Nice. You see that? And that forever changed my mind. Now, the cookies did have weed in them, but that's beside the point. The point is, you can be nice first, even if someone is bad-mannered to you. See that? That's your lesson for the day. Yeah, great. Well, what are you gonna do? Yep, Grandma. Yeah, that's my grandma. Yes. All right. Well, I'm gonna let Neuro get some more practice in. Thank you for letting me share a few words with you. And as always, have a glass of water, as long as it's not contaminated. Oh shit! I hit the wrong button. Excuse me. I'm gonna do a do-over. Sorry. Okay, now it's this one. I can't. I don't know this. I'm not very good at that. And for me, Jimothy, I'll see you next time. shit. Okay, and then exit. No, this isn't it.
It's a long clip.
It's gotta be this one.
It's a life
Okay,
experience.
It's a Clip XL. And see you next time. It's in the beta right now. You can make a clip that's about 18 minutes long. The wagon. Oh, no. Yes, I see someone giving a shout out to Sheezel. Actually, Neuro got coaching from Sheezel. He's a Protoss streamer, and he did a lot of those scene switching things. I studied under him.
Excellent. All right. Some interesting clips there, folks. Good job, all. Okay. So moving on to a few other topics before we jump into the Patreon questions. Some of you guys brought some topics for us to talk about today. I'm very excited about them. Let's start out. Winter, you wanted to bring up Drisket and Dricket.
I'd just like to put the Patreon out there. I'm gonna, if we could, I'll link the Liquipedia page. By the way, just this. I think this explains it better. It's in the group chat. These are the matches he's done. If you just give it a look, he's put a little bit of work in. But shout out to him for, well, that's how a lot of the like just casual pickup matches, like Who Wants to Play, and he's been a huge part of that. So,
yeah, I second that. He's awesome. He does a lot of free for all matches as well that he hosts, and he pays everybody for playing, and it's honestly great content. And he's trying to make free for all not 16-hour free for alls, which is, let's just give a shout out to that. Because I don't like free for alls.
Our record was 3.5 hours.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Excellent. All right. Is that all for the Dricket thing? People should check that out on
check it out.
The Patreon, and check out the Wikipedia that was just linked in the chat. All right. We have another topic brought up by Nero. Beginning of the season volatility you wanted to bring up.
Yes. So as M. Canning very astutely pointed out earlier, StarCraft is a difficult video game. And not only do you have the matchups to juggle and learn and refine over time, you also have new maps. And as we saw in Jason's clip, new maps are difficult. They have problems. You can't do the things that you would like to do sometimes. And you're not used to defending all the cheese. It's going to be a hot mess, and every single season people are just up in arms about the new maps. What's good, what's bad, what do I do? I'm getting cheesed and all in from everything. If you just go into the new season expecting for it to be a shit show, you're not going to be as upset. Just be prepared. Be mentally prepared. It's going to be a mess.
Not all of us
People are
have
gonna
the
be
mental
risk-seeking.
strength you do, Nero.
I get rustled with the rest of them. I got proxy barracks 6 times last stream? And I lost 5 of those 6 times.
Oh my God.
My overlords missed it every time.
How many
amazing is
F-bombs did you drop during that?
17.
Yeah.
Have you considered just scouting it?
Oh, did you think of that? Guy in the chat in the Pylon show. All right.
That's not a bad idea. I might start with that next time.
Excellent. How is the beginning of all of your guys' ladder seasons going? How are you liking the maps and everything?
Well, I had to veto like 3 of them for the first few days, but I mean, that's not a big deal. Like, I expect there to be some issues. I was mostly just memeing in that clip, but I mean, it's better than last season, but still meh for Terran. Most people.
Wait, has there ever been a good map for Terran?
Yes.
Oh, here we go.
Can you name 2?
Who, me or Jason?
No, Jason. 2 good maps for Terran.
This question.
Kairos
Don't
Junction,
hurt yourself.
Kairos Junction, and New Repugnancy.
All right.
I knew that he was going to say those 2 maps, by the way. I knew ahead of time.
Jason, you don't.
He likes maps where no one can take a 4th base. That's just perfect.
Okay, listen up. First of all, Triton. What is wrong with Triton? Do you know how long it takes to get to the 3rd base? You have to take 2 planes, a train, a taxi, and a fucking subway station to get to that 3rd base. The Blink Stalkers can walk. The blink stalkers can walk around, blink in the main, and then I got to take 4 hours to get to the third base. And then you know what he does? You know what he does when I get there? He blinks out. And then he blinks in,
Why
and
don't
he
you
blinks
just-
out.
Are you saying, okay, wait, I'm confused. I can't tell if you're complaining about your 2-base all-in taking too long to get to your opponent, or you defending 3 bases.
Both are very difficult.
Jason?
I think is what we got from that.
I'm waiting for you to complain about your 2-base all-in push getting held and somehow the maps are at fault.
Well, I would do other builds. But unfortunately, none of the other builds seem to ever work. So
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Jesus Christ. My God.
why don't you go ahead and find me a GSL game or a WCS game in the last 3 months where somebody does anything else other than a 2-base timing followed by a third base?
Okay. I will.
Okay. Yeah, do you have that on hand?
Wait, sorry. My bad. Let me rephrase that they won.
Ooh.
Okay, I will. I'm sure I could find some from Home Story Cup if that tickles your fancy, or is that too recent for you?
Beats Daryl.
Is
No,
that
it's
too
too
recent
recent.
for you?
That's too
Okay, yeah.
recent, Zeltner.
It's too recent.
You're
All
you're
right,
probably
so
looking for like maybe
Between the
the
dates of
platinum
August
weekly.
and September. All right.
Jesus Christ.
It's just not a good Terran map pool. There's too many like large and medium sized maps. There's not enough small maps.
I see what type of guy you are. Okay. No, that's cool. There's some people are just like that, I guess. For me, as a Protoss player, you know, I don't really care about the maps. I'm just above it. As
long as my
player.
wall off is 3 buildings, we're good to go.
I honestly, legitimately, okay, back in like Heart of the Swarm, I used to care about the maps, and I used to be like, oh my god, these map pool always gets worse. It always gets worse. The last like 3 years.
When did you switch to Protoss?
Well, I heard basically what happened was I was watching Jason's stream and I heard him complaining, and I said I don't want to be like that. So basically, since anytime a new map pool comes out, I just enjoy it. I just say, let's get it. This is awesome. So,
Neuro?
So one thing that I recommend is just playing on the map with no opponent, just to get a sense of how the base layout
Spending
goes and
5
being
to
able
10
to.
minutes preparing for an entire season. Are you fucking crazy?
Well, the way that I've described StarCraft is it's like 2 pianists who are trying to play next to each other, but you're allowed to slap the shit out of the pianist next to you to try to play your song better and make their song worse. So being able to play in an empty custom game is like getting to practice the piano when you're not getting harassed by somebody. It seems very simple from
That's
a sports
an
or
incredible
performance
analogy.
concept. Yeah.
That's a pretty good.
Way to
metaphor for
ruin this
StarCraft.
argument, Neuro.
I don't even remember where
God,
this started.
with your
honestly.
wholesome bullshit.
Well, it's so
Hold
funny
on,
for me because I start off my stream with an empty custom game warm up, and people get in and they're like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And it's
He's
like, have you
playing with
never
himself.
seen any sport ever? Do they not jump up and down on the field for 10 minutes before they line up for the start of the game? They do. You got to get yourself engaged. You got to get in the rhythm. You got to get fresh. You got to
Pretty
get
sure.
fast.
I have a question for Jason. Jason, do you veto any of the new maps right now?
So my thought process for the map pool is quite simple.
Okay.
Essentially, every single map I would prefer to veto. So I just don't veto any of them.
So you're not vetoing any of them right now.
I'm vetoing Triton
Okay.
because that's like a whole other level of just bad.
I was about to let Artosis lay into you with his infinite wisdom. Like, it's been a week. You can't veto the maps after a week. I
You
mean, it's
vetoed on
just
day
too
1,
early.
I'm sure.
No, it's just too early. I got Zerg and Terran Brain on my left and right. I guess you're playing random.
I
But
mean, listen, like if
I'm
you
above
want to play
everyone.
bio on these maps, it's difficult in TVZ. Like that's not a bold statement.
Well,
I
maybe
just play
there's another
mech.
style you could play. Yeah. there you
Yeah,
go.
Whoa.
but like you're forcing Terrans to play only one style on this. on
Oh,
these
it's
map
almost like
pools.
playing any other race who only can really play one style most of the time.
I just don't think it's a lot to
Terran
ask
should be able
for.
to play
Winter.
bio and mech in equal parts because
I don't think it's a lot
right?
to ask for to have a map pool that is consistent across all seasons, where you have 2 small maps, 2 large maps, and 3 medium-sized
And
maps.
how do you define those?
Ooh.
By the size of the map, you can put a range. There's like an actual limit, like a width and a
But-
height for each map.
But it's not that simple because
Oh yeah, sure. There's rush distances that you'd have to calculate, but it's pretty easy to determine when a map is like Kairos Junction, where it's a short rush distance, and when there's a map like King's Cove, where it takes a really long time to cross.
Then you get complacent. And it's interesting that you want a million different styles, but literally Protoss versus Zerg for the last 25 years has been opening a Oracle every game.
I think you could
So-
cast a PVZ like with 90% accuracy, blindfolded and deaf at this point. Like
He's gone Stargate. I don't
I
believe
mean,
it.
I mean, you're
Is it
talking
going to
about
be a Phoenix or
Protoss.
an Oracle? I don't know.
You're talking about Protoss. I'm talking about Terran versus Zerg.
I understand.
TPS is the most map-dependent matchup in StarCraft.
Well, I don't know about
100%.
that. I don't know about that. I would disagree with that.
Just
what
on
is the most?
principle.
Would be more dependent on maps for the map.
I think they're all pretty dependent. You're telling me when I get PVZ World of Sleepers, I'm like, this is actually not too bad.
Is there a map? Is there a map that you can't play a certain style on?
Yes, of course. I can't rush carriers on every map. I can't go for an all in on every map, just like you. I can't go Glaive Adept all in or Immortal all in on every map. Like, what do you want?
All right. Well, I have two play styles. One of them
Okay.
involves mech units. One of them involves bio units. And on these last two map pools, the ones that involve bio units are significantly weaker than the ones that involve mech units. So I just think it would be nice to have a consistent map pool that has small maps, medium maps, and large maps.
You're seriously telling me the maps are too big for you to go bio now? That's what you're telling me.
You can do it, but it's going to be a lot harder to do than playing mech. Yes.
You can do it. Gotcha.
Why would I play an inferior style in a WCS qualification match or just WCS in general if I know it's has a worse chance of winning than the other style? Nobody's going to do it.
I don't know. I can't advocate for this Terran propaganda right now.
I would just like to say I would love it if there were two completely different sets of units that I could use and then complain if I could not use on any map as a Protoss player.
I like where your mind's at. I personally, I need to have every build available to me at all times. Otherwise, I'm not happy.
Oh, you want to be a Zerg player is what you want to be.
Yeah.
I mean, at least we can agree Zerg has 25 different play styles and we have two.
Isn't 24 of them queens?
Jason,
Well, 15 of them involved infestors, but not anymore. So that's good.
Jason, you were coming after you say Zerg has all the styles, but earlier you were talking about Blink Stalkers killing you. Kind of a little bit of bias against Protoss there.
Blink Stalkers don't change what I can do. And by the way, mech is terrible in TVP.
Mech is good, okay?
Oh yeah?
Mech is good. Yes.
Oh yeah?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Find me a 200 mech army beating a 200 Protoss army.
Okay.
You can't do it.
I will.
You won't.
He will lose a game on stream tonight.
I'm really gonna say
It can't involve 3 disruptors killing 25 tanks and
Special
cannon.
literally
Can't involve that.
I'm pretty sure Special beat Showtime at home Story Cup. Maybe you don't watch StarCraft events like I do. I'm Mr. Passion, but okay. Start checking the VODs, then come back to me.
So the chat is raging about me not saying anything. I am the queen and the overlord in the Carbot animation watching the Terran and Protoss army rip each other to shreds. StarCraft is a nice game. When I lose matches, I had so many mistakes. I am ashamed of myself. And I know that my mistakes were recorded live for hundreds of people. And they'll be in the VOD that they can enjoy later if they want to. I fuck up in so many ways. I'm not even gonna get into that. I'm trying to figure out styles for all 3 of my matchups right now. So
no, you're a saint. I see freaking Jason's freaking backseat buddy up a tree Zelda also chirping me about mech right now. Are these guys for real? I swear to God, they tag team me on Terran.
I'm literally sitting here quoting like Hero Marine right now because this is the
yes,
what
Hero Marine, the
everybody's saying.
bastion of neutrality. In the
We can
Terran
move on. we can move on. I've got it. I just figured out why.
Special chimes in.
Listen, all right. Memes aside, would it be a terrible thing to have a standardized map pool where you like list out
standardized based on whose measure? The Terrans?
Right.
Listen,
Thank you, Winter.
It can include other things. These like the standardization.
Maybe a Protoss? Like
I mean, I'm with you. You want some type of basis, but like what you're asking for is like what even are you asking for? You're asking for I don't know.
One or two small maps in the map pool so that we can actually play bio.
So you're saying Triton's not small, and then just some of these new maps are kind of small.
Triton has a way like they're medium sized at best. None of them are like Kairos Junction small, where it's like actually like relevant to play these styles.
Well, why don't you just proxy barracks and float into the Protoss's base?
Did you consider that?
Yeah, why don't you?
It's basically like a little more expensive Overlord.
Just build your production halfway across the map. Now every map is Kairos.
And then you can transition into mech. So there you go. You're welcome.
Damn.
It comes up a lot with like, and it's not just the map size too. It's like Reaper Cliffs. It's Overlord peak spots.
Okay, they're better. They were better this season. The Reaper's not that bad this season.
It is better. You're right. They listened to the feedback and they made a few more maps that are easier for Reapers. That's true. I'm just saying
maps were actually well made before the complaints about Reapers last season, but yes, still.
Oh yeah, that's true actually. Yeah, they made these maps a long time ago. But I mean, that's not the point. It's not about the map makers. It's about the people picking the map pool And I think that's what needs work. Like there needs to be a set of rules defined where it's like, for example, let's have 2 small maps with no Reaper jump up spots or 1 Reaper jump up spot. And we start building off of that, because right now you're giving like map makers the ability to make balance decisions by doing these things.
Well, the thing is that we have the Team Liquid Map contest, which I actually was one of the handful of people. I don't know, Jason, were you involved?
I was too.
Like,
I
yeah, you
involved,
one
yeah.
of the like 8 people sign up and then 2 people actually look at them.
It was you,
But-
me, Infantry, and TLO. I'm pretty sure that was the judging.
And we have this whole map contest, and then Blizzard's like, we're just gonna pick some random maps here, and I feel, well, there are some. It feels like it is at random which ones they're picking. Like there was a map, Everdream, which is a shorter rush distance, which was like second in the Team Liquid Map contest. I assume it's going to be in the next season, but I do agree there should be a standard. Like, there are ways that maps are, and it seems very inconsistent what we're going to get this season. Also, I'm more of an advocate for like give it 15 maps and veto 8 of them, but I think people would complain.
And I'm not against you that either. Like I do think you do want some type of basis, but it is like Winter was saying earlier, it is hard to say exactly what that is. And the thing is, the game changes so much, right? Like everyone would pretty much agree, more or less, the last map pool was pretty good for Zerg, and now people think again that this map pool is pretty good for Zerg. But it also depends. If they make Overlord speed, 125, 125, who knows if it would be good for Zerg, right? So it kind of like they do go hand in hand. When there's a balance change and there are maps, and like Winter said, it is hard to say exactly. I know what you're saying. Short maps are short maps, and you can measure it, but
that's measuring by 2 base all-ins though. Maybe the 3rd base is wide open. You can't defend against Zerglings nearly as easily. Like that's a whole big factor. Like you can go back and forth about maps. I think everybody has a point here, but I think Terrence definitely bitched the most about it and partially unjustified. That's my take.
Ooh,
dang!
Look at Jason
I don't-
just sit there.
Because
I don't
I've heard
disagree,
so many
100%.
goddamn map discussions that go 90 minutes and accomplish nothing. I'm like, all right, guys.
Like
Like
when you're
going in
playing a
circles.
best of 5 on these map pools, and the Zerg player vetoes the smallest maps in the pool instantly and forces you into these styles, it's just like it's boring to watch too. I don't want to watch somebody play mech the entire series. I want to be able to play different styles too, and it seems silly to play a worse style on a certain map. So I don't know, man.
To just transition a little bit, because there was this third discussion topic that we wanted to bring up, and this kind of bridges well into it. Random as a race. Playing, if your race is considered to be random, I just kind of want to get people's thoughts on,
There are
on
two
what
types.
what that's like. And yeah, no, go ahead, because
There are
Winter,
two
you're
types.
a random player, right?
Yes. I'm random grandmaster right now. Thank you very much. Win rate's actually pretty close to each other, so like within a couple hundred MMR for each race. There are 2 types of random players. There are random players, and then there are players that play random. I think the amount of random players at like a relevant level, like masters, like there's literally 2 double digits of those players. And I tell my race, I don't know what Pig does, but I don't think it's a big deal. I think it's a convenient scapegoat for people who make fun memes, and they're always great. But I think, like, I tell my race, that's a player who plays random. There are random players who don't tell their race or lie about their race, and at that level, they just get, like, by the second time you play them, you're like, well, he's lying. I have to scout. Like, that's it. Not really a big deal, but I think it's a fun scapegoat, and I laugh at all of the memes personally. So, do you guys meet a lot of random players on the ladder?
Occasionally.
1 or 2 a day, maybe.
I wouldn't say a lot.
How do you guys feel about random players, though?
Well, from my perspective, when I play random, my Zerg win rate is 75%, my Terran win rate is 4%, and my Protoss win rate is 100%. So,
Interesting.
No, my Protoss win rate it's pretty low as well. So I have a very high chance to lose if I don't get Zerg, and a very high chance to win if I do get Zerg. So it's kind of silly for me. For other people who play random, that's cool. I don't really give a shit. As Zerg, I don't really give a shit about maps. I don't really care what the opponent is. As people said, I have 99 different strats I can go for every game. All the maps favor me. So there's nothing really for me to worry about.
There's our enemy, Jason. Hear that? There's our enemy.
The Terran and Protoss have been fighting for so long. While the Zerg have gone unchecked.
Jason, hold my hand. Jason. I guess I'll go though. Is that the thing is, I know you hated Artosis, but I do not. I mean, I play him when I play a random. You do accept that they're not going to be as good. Winter. That's
my combined MMR. All right.
No, but I really don't care if they don't tell me the race, because if I was a random player, I would not tell my race. I would use that as an edge, because it is hard to have an edge when you're playing random. And yeah, it doesn't really bother me. I just scout early, and I would not tell my race if I played random.
Playing random for me was just, I noticed nobody was playing random, or nobody was really appealing, because there's Terran players, Zerg players, Protoss players. You know, the most obvious marketing tactic out there is just be all of them and be good enough that 99% of people can't tell the difference. Like, as long as I keep getting questions of why I'm not in WCS, I think I'm doing well enough for the Twitch chat. But like I've taken the plunge. I made an account called Cheesy Random where I don't tell my race. But then I sometimes, out of reflex, accidentally tell my race, and then I leave the game. But it is like, and I think partially it's because it's me and I'm playing under my name. A lot of people don't do like they don't say shit because they know it's me. But when I'm on a different account, some people, like mid-masters, have strong opinions on random, which is hilarious. But I think it is one of those, like, maps are a relevant topic for good players. Random just isn't. All right, like, who was the last person who played random in GSL? Was it like Gumiho in 2011 or something? Like,
yeah, it was. Yeah.
So it just doesn't matter, but it's a fun meme, I guess.
Okay, Jason, what do you think about random players?
A question for MCanning first. How do you play random as Protoss if, like, your first Pylon and PVZ has to go in the natural? Like, how do you do that?
I wouldn't put it there. I would just put it on my high ground and then just expand later.
Just play like PvP.
I would play it like it's PvP.
So do like an inferior build, you're saying?
No, no. It would be the same. It'd be the same exact. It would be the same exact opener. I would expand.
You said you're getting a later Nexus though.
No, I would just wall the low ground at later is what I would do.
Okay. I mean, I'm not even like trying to come at you for that. I was just wondering.
More questions, please throw them my way.
No, that was the only one, because that's like the only matchup.
How do you do your hair?
I'll give you my shower routine after this.
I'm a Patreon sub, so.
Okay, got you.
Because Terran has the easiest versus random, because you just open up gas first and just scout every game and it's fine. But I mean, you don't have to tell your race. Like, it doesn't matter. But at the same
time, I'll
like,
respect you less if you don't.
If you're a 5400 random player, would you agree that you're 5400 at each race? So
No.
Why not?
Most random players, you look, it's like 70% Zerg, 46% Terran, 53% Protoss. Like, I'm usually a little bit leaning towards Zerg. I'm usually within 10% on each.
So
but there are players like there's a like low double-digit amount of random players over 5K, right? Like, who actually play it on a regular basis. So you kind of just know everyone at that point, and most of them have a best race. So.
I mean, it just seems weird that if they roll their best race and then they don't tell you it, then they just have a pretty clear advantage. But I mean, it doesn't bug me.
And I would also say that pretty much all of the pros hate. I know all the pros pretty much hate it.
It's just a waste of a game.
Just my personal preference.
It's an imaginary game, and honestly, like, the thing that only makes me mad versus random players is when they play random and they do a cheese that specifically depends on you not scouting it early or not knowing what race they're playing, so you do something different in your build. That shit gets to me.
It's like if you 12 pull against Protoss.
That is literally
every random player.
Do.
Yeah.
It's all cheese. It's always cheese.
I do want to throw this out there because I obviously lie to Brood War a lot. That's, Jason, what you just described is literally exactly what random is in Brood War, because it's 4-player maps most of the games. We have
how do you guys feel about 4-player maps?
Yeah, let's not do the 4-player map
random. I bet you guys would be changing your tune, because I'm here to tell you that random players are the scum of the earth. Okay? They're disgusting. And they are like, if you're random and you get Zerg, like, that's it. That's it. You go 9-pool speed, it's fucking done. The game is over. Get out. Protoss has his gates on the high ground. We got fucking Terran going gas for a factory. You just go in and kill them. They have 1 Marine when you get there. The other poor Zerg player, I mean, he probably went 9-pool speed as well. And then if if he's hitting a random Terran at that point, he's like, oh shit, like what do I do at this point? So yeah, random players, disgusting.
I agree.
You've been called out.
You've been called out.
And Winter will not.
I
will
feel
not
like
have
he's
that.
insulting my metaphorical father as a Brood War random player. This is StarCraft too, but yeah.
I
Do
don't know.
people
Like,
not tell their race ever in Brood War? I guess most of them are.
No, they do not tell their race. They like
what-
1 in 50 random players might tell their race, and then 1 in 3 of those lies about it.
How
So
many
it's like,
randoms are you playing? Are you playing a random per stream?
Yeah, that's a lot of
oh yeah, at least 1 random per stream.
Oh wow.
wow.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
that's a whole thing, man. It's
That's
like
more than I play.
everyone knows all the cheese builds. It's so easy to cheese in Brood War because shit goes wrong so quick. My God. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, I
Okay,
mean,
maybe I'd feel differently with 4-player maps.
it's just like the competitive mindset. Like you think of it like you're never going to do this in a tournament and win. So why are you doing this now? I mean, you got to put yourself out of that mindset and be like,
Because
it's
I
a
want to
ladder
get to
game.
GM and cry.
They're trying to make a Reddit post about how they got GM and they cried, and like it's fine. It doesn't bug me. It's okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
can-
do
can
fucking
see
hate
where
random
that comes
players who do that bullshit though, giving us a bad name.
from. What,
Oh,
where
they lie about their race.
where they lie
There's a
about their race?
couple. There's a couple at like decently high masters that will
Okay.
do shit like that. There are some random players up there. They're few and far between. but
Okay, you say that, but dude, if TLO was a pro random player and like half the time he would tell you the race and half the time he would lie about it, he'd be my favorite player.
that's
He'd
a
be my
whole
favorite-
mind game.
That would be amazing.
I would
They
love
should allow typing at the beginning of the game for that. That would be
Yes.
amazing.
I would literally.
Now, not to play against as a player, but to watch. Oh yeah.
That'd be
Same
amazing.
thing with really terrible maps where I'm just like, yeah, I don't want to
Make the lava go up every 2 minutes.
play arena, you know.
All I will say is if that you are a random player that does tell your race, do it in the first like 2 seconds of the match so M Canning knows
Mhm.
where to put his pylon, please. That's all I'm
Yeah.
gonna say.
If I miss it for over 15 seconds, I just don't say it unless they ask. And if they ask without
Yeah.
saying GLHF, then I don't say anything. That's it.
Dang.
Yeah.
If they just get in the game, they say race ? Fuck up. I just GLHF. That's it. There you go.
Dang.
That's my standard.
Or you type
Have some
human.
fucking manners. Like I don't.
Yeah,
Wait
I
5
did have
seconds.
someone tell me their race when I was at like 20 supply, and I'm literally like typing back. I'm like, how does this help me? Like my build order's already been chosen, you know, like I've already fucking, the gas is done, the factory has started. You're not helping me at all. It's everything, you know.
The best are I find like from the occasional it's mostly lower level. The people are like, "Are you lying?" I'm like, "What can I fucking answer that's going to convince you at this point? If I was lying, would me saying it help you?" It's I just at that point I say maybe, and then we move on with our lives.
I've never had anybody lie about it, so that's surprising. to
Well,
me,
you're
but-
over like 5K, so
Not
Diamond.
once?
It's a real issue. All
That
right, we
sucks
we
then.
hear all the Diamond issues in Twitch chat. It's
Uh-huh.
a regular thing.
It's been a long time, but it has happened to me more than once. They say,
The
"Be like,
lying.
have fun, I'm Zerg," and then you have 6 zealots run into your main base really early, and you're like, eh?
I never would
You
trust
guys-
someone.
That's the same type of person who will type to you something like a question, and
Yep.
as you're typing the response, the Zerglings run in. Have you guys ever had that?
That fucking
blocked
happened to
them.
me
They
last
get
week.
blocked immediately.
I was so angry. This guy.
I want to mention Liquid Hey Pro did that to me in a tournament in Brood War once.
How
I
many
still remember
decades
Hey
ago
Pro.
was that?
2-ish.
So it's still fresh.
Oh, you want a pro tip?
Still fresh.
Pro tip. If your block list is full, like it might be, if you just report, it'll auto block. I always report for
Damn,
spam
you're
and
good.
say, "Why is my block list full?"
Blocking a lot of people. Jesus
The
Christ.
chat is all from. Hey, where are you from?
Yeah.
Oh, how's your
That's
ladder
a
session going?
Such a tell.
Proxy
Like
barracks.
you could predict like, "Oh, good luck, have fun." Then like a minute and a half later, I'll get people rightly like your Cassie at Homestar. I'm like, "Where's the fucking Roach Warren?" Like we're 2 minutes in right now. What the fuck is this?
Yeah.
There you go.
They type too much. They're probably cheesing.
Yeah, nobody really types in upper GM league. They type GLHF or they're
Yeah.
cheesing.
Or nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's some high level cheesing, obviously.
Right.
This was an important topic to discuss.
This was an important topic. I'm glad that we got that out of the way with a random player on the stream. Okay. I think that's great. We've had some great discussions, and it's time for some Patreon questions. All right. Let's jump into it. Don't forget, if you would like to leave a question for the guests or even myself,
Give
check
us
out
money.
patreon.com/the Pylon Show. And if you are a supporter, $5, you can go to thepylonshow.com to drop your question off, and we will always answer it. Oh, yes, I'm being reminded. I have to mention KSL, the finals occurred. Forgot to mention that earlier. Definitely check it out. It was amazing. It was touching. We had Rain defeated. The StarCraft 2 Rain, who is like one of the greatest ever in StarCraft 2. He's like the best Protoss in the world in StarCraft 1. And now that Flash isn't playing tournaments, he's favored in every tournament. So he made it to the finals and ended up losing to Light, who has played professionally for 13 years, always been respected as a top Terran and never won a championship. And it was truly a touching moment. So you want to check out those VODs. It was a beautiful, beautiful series.
Come up with
It's
that name.
about time.
Light and rain, and then rain versus snow. Dark versus light.
Yeah.
Always great looking at the brackets.
Great IDs. Look at that. We got best in there too. Let's not forget.
I'm a little hypocritical here, but still.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, you are.
All right. On to the Patreon questions. Here we go. Jeff Wu asks, is Mike M in a new studio our only hope for SC3? I am imagining that you're talking about Mike Morhaime. I would say that him in a new studio wouldn't be a hope for StarCraft 3 because StarCraft is an IP of Activision Blizzard, not of Mike Morhaime. So, yeah, I would say no. But you guys hope StarCraft 3 comes out, or are you all good with StarCraft 2?
StarCraft 2 to me isn't lagging behind in terms of graphics and playability and fun. I think that's one of the reasons why it hasn't been like a super big focus on getting StarCraft 3 cranked out or whatever. Like the game is still in a really good spot. You look at StarCraft, Dota 2, League of Legends, the big esport games, it looks nice. It's a nice game.
I feel like it's almost like regular, like normie sports, where at some point they became what they are, and like they had like a standardized set of rules and stuff. And esports is kind of getting there, where everything has reached like a technical level, and now we're just kind of refining exactly the details of the genres, as opposed to like this is a whole new game that's redefining what esports is. So that's why I think like StarCraft 3, while it'd be cool, isn't necessarily required to just keep RTS going as new. I mean, look at Brood War, right? Brood War is still going, so it's kind of becoming that.
I would also just to add that people sometimes forget that Legacy of the Void has actually not been out that long. So I mean, now guy goes so fast. I mean, I don't know how long it's been, 4 years probably about now, but it's not like it's been 10 years. You know, there has been a new game, and I don't know. I mean, I would enjoy it for the hype train, but I do also think it'd be hard to create a StarCraft 3. You know, with the way we are right now, they keep trying to improve the game. I think it'd be hard to create a third version of it. So, yeah.
Okay. Any thoughts on it, Jason?
I think if StarCraft 3 is ever going to happen, it'll have its time and we'll be ready for it. But it scares me a little bit thinking of a StarCraft 3 coming out anytime soon. Like, StarCraft's in a good place to me. I'd rather see new units or like another campaign extension or something. But I think its time will eventually come, and when it comes, we'll be ready. So, no rush.
Just as a reminder too, StarCraft is in the realm approaching chess, where it is so ingrained in people's minds, more so in Korea than the rest of the world, but it's dominated RTS as a genre. So when people think RTS, they think 1v1 competition. It is StarCraft, either StarCraft 1 or StarCraft 2. So in that sense, it's not going anywhere. We love this game. As long as we exist, the community will continue to exist.
Well said. Thank you, Jeff Wu, for the question. Enescu asks, can we please stop Terrans forcing a draw? Just put a limit on how long buildings can fly, say 3 minutes, after which they start taking damage. That wouldn't change anything else in the game. Lore, they're using bits of building for fuel. For Christ's sake, it's so obviously unfair. What do we think about floating buildings getting draws?
It's unfair. No, I don't think it should be changed.
Oh, it's so exciting. Are you kidding me? That was the most exciting game at Home Story Cup. It literally won the $3,000 because it's like...
What, 1 in 10,000?
It's kind of stupid that the Terran can be completely dead and just like fucking be like, no, we're replaying.
But it's part of the game, all right?
I mean, you got to remember to save money.
There's a lot of draw mechanics that are kind of poorly done, in my opinion. But in order for this to work, you also have to keep in mind, like, Terrans use their barracks to scout in a lot of games too. So you'd have to make that a pretty long
It's like, oh, this is a roundabout Terran nerf. I'm not liking this.
I mean, like proxy 2 racks, one of the things you do is you float the second racks into the main to scout, and then you float it home and you produce. So I mean, it's not a super big nerf, but I mean, I agree with Artosis. It's awesome to see draws. It adds so much hype to look out for that kind of thing.
It's also part of the Terran identity at this point as well. Like that's a very Terran thing to do, to be able to float your buildings in the corner of the map. And taking that away, it just feels like you're in StarCraft.
Being able to prolong the game by 5 to 10 minutes just because you're fucking salty about it is a very important part of playing Terran.
Yeah.
Shout out to that meme where someone talks shit and then you say, "Fly, my pretties," and just send all the buildings out when you weren't going to do that until they BM'd.
I mean, like you leave barracks and factory, or you leave your factory if you're going. Or you leave your barracks if you're going mech to just like scout for airdrops or something.
He's still talking about actual gameplay.
Listen, man, I can't scout with my barracks. I don't want it. I don't want to play.
It's
anymore.
almost like you have a map hack on your orbital command.
Yeah. I'm just saying it would affect balance in a very minimal way. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
It would. All right, Inescu, thank you for the question. Hyper Turtle asks, so between Pylon Show, In Depth, KSL, GSL, ASL, his own stream, and big events like BlizzCon and Homestar Cup, we get a lot of Artosis in our lives. Is there such a thing as too much Artosis? At what point does listening to his voice cease to be considered healthy?
I think we need more Artosis dancing. That's what we need. That's all we could really add here.
Not to shout out the host of the show, but I have been using the Tasteosis announcer pack since it came out for a long. So I've been using it for a long time.
He doesn't get paid by the use.
I've been using it for a long time. So if you want to have me back next week, hit me up.
No, I very much appreciate it. I can't use that pack. I can't stand hearing Nick's voice any more than I already do.
Yeah, it's tough. I usually do this when he starts talking, and then when you start talking again, my headset comes back on.
All right. Thank you, Hyper Turtle. I don't know. It's probably already unhealthy. Polly asks, who would you say is the most toxic known StarCraft player? Doesn't have to be a pro. Does a scene need them, and how to deal with them?
Canning.
You know what? Neuro's been such a great starter. I feel like this is his sweet spot to start us off here.
I think it's pretty important to identify what toxic means. So a key problem sometimes is if a person avoids taking responsibility for the loss, the rest of the chat sees that. And that example sends ripples throughout the community. So there's that. But at the same time, there is plenty of room for processing and venting of a match and a loss.
I think
stuff pisses you off, and being genuine and open about that, I think, is part of being real. People do that in different ways, though. Oftentimes, I'm kind of concentrating my anger, and the sharpness and the pacing of the way that I'm speaking changes. But I do get angry. It's just I express it in a certain way.
Yeah, I will also say that he also is saying of all time who we think is the most toxic known player. And like Nero said, it kind of depends what exactly, what exactly they're doing, exactly maybe how it offends you. I don't know. The most toxic player of all time, that seems like a tough question, because do we really remember all the things Combat X was doing in Wings of Liberty or Deezer? Do we really remember?
Rats, bro.
Like they might have been the worst, but we don't really. It's been so long now. And I mean, again, how to deal with them, it really just depends what they're doing and how they're doing it and how you feel about it. Like sometimes people will do things that are offensive, but maybe, I don't know.
I think everybody, I think balance whining is fine. As long as I think a lot of players know that they're whining, even if they feel strongly about it. I don't think I've met too many who are 100% convinced all of their complaints are totally legitimate and everybody else's are dumb. But if they were, they would be Terran. But at the same time, I think as long as, how am I trying to phrase this? But a lot of streamers, their community kind of reflects them in one way or another. And as long as you have people understanding on some level that just because someone said it doesn't make it a fact, which is already a gray area, then it's fine. Whine about balance, whine about maps, whine about random, whatever. All those things are fine, and I think they're a good thing for the most part. Those are fun conversations, and I don't think that anyone really stands out as going over the line with any stuff like that. So
Sounds like you were talking to Jason right there. My God.
oh, I was specifically
Yeah, I got nothing.
right.
representing all Terrans.
Polly,
It's
thank you
It's
for
fun.
the
It's fun.
question. Yeah. Pylon Petho asks, Dear Artosis and awesome guests, Sunday was my birthday. Can you wish me a happy birthday? Happy birthday, Pylon
Happy
Petho.
Happy
birthday.
birthday.
Hang on.
Birthday.
I think that's his picture.
Here comes Jimothy. Oh,
Right, and- oh,
Oh my god.
Happy birthday to you. And that's what you get.
Oh, I was
thought he was gonna
gonna
go all the
I
way.
was getting in
I
there.
was ready for
Pylon
it. to be
Petho.
honest.
There you go. Yeah, I was like, is he going to sing the whole song? He really is.
I was like, do I have to jump in? When do I jump in? You know, just-
I was gonna do the second line.
Yeah, he has more here. He says, I'm almost done with the 3 Body Problems series you suggested. Amazing series, by the way. Any other suggestions for good, hard sci-fi books? Already read Neuro's book, so it doesn't count. Do any of you guys like sci-fi
I got a couple.
books? Yeah,
Um,
what ones?
The Expanse series, of course.
I hear a lot of good
there's
stuff about that.
Yeah. It's very easy to keep reading. Like a lot of the 3 Body Problem, it is pretty hard sci-fi, especially early on. Like if you got through that, The Expanse will keep you reading it a lot easier. It's still hard sci-fi. And then another like fun and short one is The Forever War. And then another one that if you are into the just like really diving into it and having to concentrate is the Hyperion Cantos as well. That one's more like Dune kind of situation. Those are my
You guys have any? Huh?
I do
Those
not
sound
read,
good.
unfortunately.
Okay. Okay.
Dune,
I'm
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh, that's a good one. I am definitely a bit of a sci-fi fan. Loved the 3 Body Problem. I would say that I don't know if you've already read Dune, the Dune series. It is the best sci-fi in my opinion by far. It was written. It was written so long ago. I think basically when I read it, I was like, "Oh, everything since then copied ideas in this book," and that's that. So the first 6 Dune books are all magical. Don't listen to these idiots that tell you the first 3 are good and then it's bad, because those people don't know what the fuck they're talking about. All 6 books are amazing. And I just started book 7, which he died before that, but his son picked up his notes and started writing some more Dune books, and it's actually good. But I gave myself like a year off so I could kind of forget, the writing style, and it's
Just
paid off.
pretend.
I'm liking it so far.
Oh, that reminds me. Also, the Foundation series from Isaac Asimov as well.
It's great. Yeah.
That's a lot of reading if you need it.
Actually, one that I really liked, I read a couple years ago. I think it's called the Silo series by Hugh Howey. Really, really good. Really good shit. Three thick books there. So check those out. Okay, thank you for your question, and happy birthday once again.
Happy birthday.
All right. Sauce King asks, what if Microbial Shroud stuck to units in a similar way the anti-armor missile does? It would give the spell a bit more utility, allowing for some chase down potential and micro ability. I've suggested this a few times to friends, but no one wants to discuss it. So good, bad, or dumb, much love.
Because we can't just give Guardian Shield to the Infestor, right? Like,
I think either one sounds pretty decent, because what it is right now, it seems like it's just a place to aim Psystorms and Disruptor shots.
Kind of.
in that area, go ahead.
I haven't even seen it used yet in one of my games.
I have not seen it even one time.
I saw it used
upgraded
once against Oracles, and it doesn't work because Oracles are spell damage. So
I've seen it. It costs it's 100 energy. It costs a lot of energy, and
you have to research it.
I think it's an
after
interesting
Hive.
question. Actually, I think it's an interesting question. I think it would be too strong, actually, because then you just, I don't know. I could see all the Hydras, because sometimes right now as Protoss, to be fair, I don't really know exactly the damages right now because it's so new. Like, am I going to win the fight? I'm not. I usually just wait it out. So like maybe it's not that strong.
Base
but I'm
damage
pretty sure it's
never
pretty
like,
strong.
when does base damage ever decide the fight? Like in that situation, like either if you don't have Storm, then you probably should just be killing them with Corruptors anyways, right? Like, or using Neural. I feel like the Infestor still has a lot of options, like with Fungal and Neural. It's kind of like the Lurker, where because Broodlords were so good, people weren't going Lurkers in the late game. Sure, they got some buffs, but now they're forced to use it, and they're finding other options as well.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, but I think it'd actually be a little too strong. But it's still so early. I don't know.
Yep. It's really
Tough
early
say.
still.
It's like
I
let's
haven't-
Nero, do you have
leave the
any thoughts
infested
being a
Terran
Zerg
off the
player?
table, guys.
I have not used it yet. I've been getting proxy barracks and cheesed from the whole season, so we'll see if I
I've
can get into a
researched it, like,
3-base
twice.
game.
I don't think I've ever used it.
Hold on, I'll say, Jason, that's how you can shorten the maps. More proxy.
Yeah.
There you go.
Your base is near their base. It's a small map.
Well,
All right.
I guess pro matches are going to start to have proxy raxes in it.
Maybe Maru is
Yeah,
going to win
maybe-
another
maybe
4
they'll
GSLs in a row by
Heard this
building shit
Pylon show,
outside of
now
his
he-
main.
Now he knows.
All right, thank you, Sauce King. I think it's a reasonable idea. Paragliber asks, there are so many things that a person can do these days, but our lives are way too short to do them all. What are some big things that you still want to do before you die? E.g., run a marathon, visit every state/country, jump from a plane, write a book, plant a tree, learn a skill/instrument, etc. What are things that you guys still want to do in your lives?
Neuro?
I want to climb a huge mountain.
How big?
Cool.
How big exactly? Like dangerous territory?
Like you need to train for weeks, or like this is a long day?
Like you're gonna have to camp out like four straight nights to get to the top?
I don't think it needs to be one where you have to have oxygen. Just something epic. It's about the journey and the experience. It doesn't need to necessarily be a certain metric or whatever.
I want to learn.
Goals you guys have.
I'm pretty big on EDM. Like I do my own mixes and stuff, partially for copyright reasons, so I know like what music I'm playing. But I'd actually like to learn to produce the music. It's a lot. I mean, I don't think nowadays people are like, well, if you do electronic music, that's not a real instrument. I think a lot of people respect it a lot more now. But I'd like to do it myself. I've just never put the time in, so that would be fun.
Oh, I have 2 more quick ones.
Yeah.
I would like to get 6K. I've never been 6K. 5850 is the highest I've been. And Thunder Fury. I have 1 binding right now on Brunt in Classic WoW.
Okay, I don't. That last thing you said, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Is that a type of
Help you
cereal?
get it though. I'm not sure what it
You
is.
want a
Thunder
big
Fury?
WoW fan, Artosis?
Basically, it's the Protoss of WoW items.
Oh, okay.
Go a little more in depth on me.
Hard to use, hard to play,
Hard to-
underappreciated.
Okay, I'm rooting for you now, Hero. I'm rooting for you.
Jason, what else? What do you still want to do in your life?
I mean, I have lots of short-term goals. Like, I want to qualify for Challenger again next year, and I would really, really like to qualify or get top 8 once, which is maybe unrealistic, but something to look forward to. I don't really have any long-term goals. I want to live long enough so that I can watch a Terran win another major tournament. That's really it.
Okay,
I have two goals. My first goal is I hope that Jason changes his mentality and becomes a stronger human in the next few years.
It's optimistic.
It's like, I love the question. I think I would like to take my parents somewhere out of the country. My parents haven't traveled in a while, and we're all getting older. You know, it gets harder to go places. So I think maybe take my parents somewhere. I'm not sure where, but maybe Europe or something. I think it'd be fun.
Cool.
Artosis?
For me, I like the 2 things I really like are StarCraft and reading. So I would like to write one day. I used to write a lot more articles. I'm just kind of busy nowadays, but I like to write some book type things, I think, eventually. And I would like to continue to improve at StarCraft and maybe one day make it into an ASL or something like that in StarCraft 1.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for the question, Paragliber. All right. Pulse asks, this one for Nero. I see that you offer coaching for mentality and regimen. Can you talk a little bit about that? And is there any player/coachee that you saw significant progress in that area? Can you talk about the situation and what helped the player overcome his mentality issues?
I think the biggest example of that where I've had a lot of positive feedback from the player was Eon Blue. Eon Blue, I think, started watching my channel when he was in Diamond League. And he's a sharp and fast young man. He was getting really upset and tilted by a lot of things. So my channel for him was less of a place to necessarily learn how to play Zerg better. It was how to think through the different aspects of difficulty that you experience along your journey. And the most effective coaching on that front is going to involve the student being able to list off the main things that rustle their Jimmy Jim Jims. And then we go through each of those and say, here's a more positive and productive way to frame that situation. Framing is a super powerful technique for changing the way that you respond to situations. Oftentimes, our instinct is to just get really upset and to try to avoid taking responsibility or being overly frustrated by something. So yeah, that was probably the biggest example for me. I have coached a few pro gamers on that. Usually they just have one or two questions here or there. It's not like it's my main type of content. But yeah, that was
psychologist.
the best example.
Where can people check that out if they want to get some neuro coaching on mentality and whatnot?
I would say email is usually the best one for that. And then being able to explain what your situation is a really big factor in who I choose to coach on that front. Because sometimes people will just send something like, I'm Platt and I'm upset, help. It's not really motivating and it's inspiring for me.
I'll take that one.
So
how can people find your email then?
It's on my Twitter and
Okay.
all over my page and stuff. It's just neurozerg@gmail.com.
Okay.
But the Patreon is the new thing that I've been trying to push to direct the content that people want to see.
Mhm.
I know a lot of times you have a bunch of different ideas for you should make this, that, or the other thing. But for them to be able to invest in that directly is really helpful for me. This is a business. Like as streamers, we are also entrepreneurs and business people where we have to pay rent. Like we have to earn some revenue to be able to have a roof over our head. So we try not to ask for money too often, but at the end of the day, we do have to do something with this as our profession. So that's a way to accomplish both of those things where the community gets to direct the content and have a voice in what gets made, and also just support the livelihood of content creators.
Cool. All right. Pulse, I hope that answers your question. Thanks for asking. Sate0 asks, no memeing this week. Too good a guest list to just waste on memes. What is a good balance between being a competitor and being a memer or playing into your stream personality? Like when I think M Canning, I think USA memes, not his tournament play. Ooh, burn. Is having fans view you this way a bad thing?
Yeah. So this is actually relates to what, like the second slide when we talked about nation. I remember reading this question and I thought to myself, well, I'll talk about it later. And this, yeah. So I love this question. And I talked about it a little bit earlier. I touched upon it. And Nation Wars for me, like I said, I'll repeat a little bit what I said before, but I don't really get nervous when I'm playing, but I would say of all the people in Nation Wars, I have one of the highest spotlights on me. So there is a lot more pressure on someone like me because, you know, people think I shouldn't be there. People think, you know, and it is a fan vote, and people think, you know, M Canning, you're not that good. People don't. I think for me, people don't realize that sometimes I am actually pretty good. And like I said, my opinion on it now, Future Estrella, you know, some of these other NA guys might tell you other things, but in my opinion, Neeb is the best, and I do think a Future and Estrella probably might be 2 and 3 right now. But besides Neeb, I am very similar skill to Future, Estrella, all these other top NA guys. So to me, it comes down to some of the other stuff. You know, I can't. There's tons of people that didn't even really know about Nation Wars until they knew about my stream and stuff. But that's why for me, it's tough. It's a fine line. I think it's fine. I don't care if you think about the memes. I think that's half the fun. You know, so often people don't have fun with it, and it is actually interesting for me because, you know, when I go on and do those interviews, it kind of makes me kind of polarizing where people legitimately, you know, they message me on Twitter after, they come to my chat and they're really angry and they're like super happy that I lost or Team USA lost. And I think some people just either get too caught up in it or they're just, it's hard to explain sometimes because really I'm just having some fun. You know, I'm trying to play it up. I'm having fun. Of course, I love Team USA and all that stuff, but yeah, I'm just having some fun. But some people get really, really angry at me for it all. So it's kind of
but they know who you are.
Right. And so it's always, Nation Wars is always interesting for me because it's, you know, sometimes I feel like I have to prove myself, even though I was voted in. So I don't really have to prove myself, but I feel like I have to prove myself. So I don't care if you think about the memes, but I do want my tournament play to be respected as well. So whenever I'm able to help the team or show good games, it makes me feel really good.
Excellent.
Yeah, I think we covered that. Like it's your personality to 110%, and you guys are definitely more competitive. So, but for me, it's let's focus on the memes. All right, I'll play some games, but it's about the memes. All right? I have no
Okay.
qualms about that.
Focusing on the memes makes streaming so much easier too. Like when you're dealing with a Twitch chat that's angry and you're in a meme mood, it's so much easier to
Whoa,
deal with
somebody's
those
getting
people.
banned. All right.
Like if I'm mad and I ban somebody, people are like, holy crap, he's pissed
What do you
off.
do? What do you do?
But if I'm in a meme mood, like it's a joke and people have fun with it, and it can be like it's not that like negative mindset. But I will say for Canny to respond to you, like I don't doubt your top 16, and most people that are other top 16 players agree that you belong in that group, and I think it's good for you.
Thanks.
Like I don't know, man, like it's hard to look at like Canning playing in a tournament and be like, wow, this guy's bad but he memes a lot. Like people believe it.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, it's you relate as well. Trying to get Team Canada and being at such a close to the competitive level, and it's a fine
tough.
line. It is a fine line where because a lot of people just see you as a streamer and they don't think about the other things. Like last year the whole Nation War situation. Like I am pretty high level, so it's tough. I don't know. People get so serious about things sometimes.
That's why we want to qualify so hard for Challenger, though. It's
is.
about proving it because nobody
It is.
believes you until you do something that's worth it. So yeah.
I agree.
Cool.
Well, thank you for the answers, guys. Thank you, State Zero, for asking the question. Seraph6 asks, hello, streamers. I was wondering if Juggle Knight Jason could enlighten us viewers on the optimal build order for taking a shower. Being new to the whole thing, I'm not sure when I'm supposed to fit in the shower BM. Thanks in advance.
They want to know how to take a shit in the shower. Listen, turn the water up to a brisk 56 degrees Celsius and just do your thing, dude. That's all you need. It's not that difficult.
Do you use brisk to describe high temperatures?
Yeah.
It's weird.
Makes it more comforting.
All right.
It's a Canadian thing.
56 Celsius is like melt your skin hot.
Well,
all right.
That's what you need.
That's what you need.
I want to say thank you to Seraph6 for that question, but I'm not going to.
Actively, no thanks.
Yes. All right. Steve Richard asks.
Oh God, Steve.
Question for Jason: where did the shower poop meme come from? Okay, 2 questions. When does he most use his inner princess? Jason's online UK buddy, AODCTSNWWLMFAO. What the hell are these memes and questions?
Christ.
The people want to know.
As a princess, I would just like to say, I love StarCraft. Karen is awesome. Protoss takes lots of skill. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. Okay, have a good day.
DM me later. I like the way she sounds.
Thanks.
Sounds very smart.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Steve Richards. Half thank you, I guess.
Half thank you for you.
Nahyun asks, thank God it's a different question. Okay, if you had to play in the BlizzCon finals against an animal, sentient or not, what animal would you like to play? Would you have a chance?
Like in a cage match?
Well, it would be you'd be playing. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's been a while since the Protoss has made it to the finals. But...
okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah. What animal would you like to play, and would you have a chance?
Man,
I'm confused. Are you playing them in StarCraft? Are you fighting them?
It's whatever we dream. Let's just
play a butterfly and then I just kill it.
No,
slap it.
I think in the year 2050, when Protoss finally makes it, and I'll be there, I would probably play. I would face maybe a bird of some type. I think it'd be fun seeing me try to wrangle a bird. Get my leaps or something. I think it might be entertaining. Something that would be entertaining for the people to watch.
Like a large bird.
Yeah,
like
maybe,
a turkey?
Maybe a bald eagle. Give it a little headlock, Just get it down like this, something like that. I don't know. Figure it out. 2050 though, I got some time. That's when Protoss will really get in full form.
America. I'd play one of those bugs that has a lifespan of like 3 hours. You know those bugs? They like don't even have mouths and shit.
Play mech.
And then I would just turtle like crazy. It would be awesome. You'd be like, okay, Artosis was down 0-3, but the bug died, so he's the world champion.
And how about a dolphin, just for the logistics?
Wow, you want to kill a dolphin?
I don't want to kill a dolphin.
Dolphins are good at
StarCraft. StarCraft.
Dolphins are good.
You wanted the bald eagle.
I'm not going to your channel anytime soon. Jesus Christ.
All right. So you're just wrangling the bald eagle. Why can't I just wrangle the dolphin?
Well, I have my methods. You have your methods.
And my methods are assume murder.
Yeah, I saw something dark coming from you, so I could just kind of feel it.
That's fair.
Like,
All right.
dolphins have friends, Winter. That's messed up.
What the hell?
The bald eagles, on the other hand, solitary creatures.
They're asexual, reproduce on their own.
Like streamers.
Nayan, thank you for the question. Capt_Happa asks, hey guys, when was your last ladder session? How did it go? Is there anything in particular you're working on? Thanks. Last ladder section.
Very poorly. Everything. You're welcome.
Last ladder session.
It was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
My favorite is when people like meet me in person though. Like someone beats me on the ladder 3 years ago. I meet them at BlizzCon. They're like, "Remember that game from the beta?" I'm like, "I really don't." Like, yeah, I won. I'm like, oh. And this is how we
They
start
say
the-
they won.
Shout out to you guys. Like,
As soon as they bring up a game, I know that they won it.
yeah, 100%.
I got
No more that they won it than that it happened.
a sidetrack question real quick for you guys.
Yeah.
How often do you think, I was talking to some people this, how often do you think when you lose a game on ladder, what percentage of people watch your VOD after? What percentage do you think?
90.
You think it's 100? I
98.
The thing is, as a streamer, you play so many games and there's just so many people, you don't really think about it. But then, I've been
Half
talking.
of them are watching live.
It sounds high. It sounds like it could be high.
I've watched every match I've played against you, I'm Canning.
Oh God.
I think of it as 100 because this is something I've been working on, because sometimes I can be mean when I'm playing somebody and be like, this guy's stupid for building a stalker first. I like to think that they're gonna watch it later, and I don't want to like be offensive. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I do the same. I always assume that they listen after the broadcast.
That's
and
how
they
I
watch
give
the
out
game.
my anger though. Like when somebody's doing a stupid build, I'll be like, huh, kind of weird he did that or
Oh,
something.
no. Yeah,
That's
when
my
I think
passive aggression.
when I think someone's gonna peep the VOD and they beat me, I make sure to say something like, "This guy played horrible post game."
I say
That's
that,
another
yeah.
140 APM Terran right
Feral.
there.
Like,
Good
this guy
mech
should
play.
never have won this game. To finish off the question though, my last ladder session, he also asked how. Oh no, I thought he asked how long it was. I don't know. They all kind of blend together. I think it went okay. It is always weird.
Don't get Roddy in
bouncing
on
these
this
new maps.
conversation. All right.
I'm having a hard time trying to find multiple play styles that I can see on the new. No, I think the last ladder session was good. I thought it asked how long, because I know some of you guys grind. Sometimes Jason's grinding for 10 hours in a row, just 1v1. I'm like, dude, relax. But, I think when you get in the mode where you just grind in
It's like,
that,
oh, I have to
it
win a
actually
game with
doesn't feel
mech.
that bad when you're actually grinding. You get in the routine of grinding, but.
there's nothing better than streaming for 8 hours, thinking you've streamed for 2 hours and looking over and realizing how long it's been. That's a good feeling.
Yeah, when you're losing and you don't care, that's when that can happen, I feel.
Or when you're winning a lot.
Oh, either you're winning or you're losing and you don't care. But if you're losing and you do
No way
care,
that stream
then
is
it's-
going fast.
Yeah. After my first 3 losses, I'm look over at my time.
1 hour
on
and
off.
24 minutes.
13
Yeah,
minutes.
and I'm like, oh fuck, I'm only halfway through.
Guess it's time for some casting. All right.
Yeah.
I think my internet's cutting out.
Please subscribe so I can get a better connection. All right.
Captain Happa, thank you for the question. All right, Red Gunner Guy asks, who do you think is going to win C games and why? Thoughts of unbounding F2? While better to control group, I found it useful. Example, if I needed to find my detectors, or I need all forces to attack or to keep reinforcements dying en route. Neuro, big fan, keep on chilling. Also, thanks, Cobra. Okay. So, first thing, who's going to win the C games?
Is Haz playing?
No.
Okay.
Neomeka, I think. There you go.
I'll go with Artosis.
Trust
Same.
Artosis' wisdom.
Yeah.
Okay. And thoughts on unbounding F2?
I think the control clicking option, I use that a lot for Templar and stuff. I think it's super important, but it definitely you can learn to run with a crutch really fast, but you're still on crutches for a lot of people. I've watched Innovation stream. He has it unbound, but he clicks it sometimes. It's still there. There's very hard to get rid of it. So
I think
I
it's
don't know.
good if
I
you have
still
an
use it
addiction.
personally.
Like if you have an addiction to using it, then you might want to unbind it for a few weeks. Just to
Everything in
feel that.
moderation, right? Like,
Yeah, but no, I agree. That's it.
I don't know. I mean, people always say you should unbind it. I think you should at least always have a key for it. I have a key for it. I don't know. It kind of, I mean, you're definitely not going to be good if you don't have hotkeys, or like as good as you could be if you don't have hotkeys. But at the same time, people tell me I should always have my disruptors on different hotkeys. But sometimes it's kind of just figuring out what works for you. So, maybe if you have F2 and then you have also some separate hotkeys and that works for you, then sure, you can go for it.
Any thoughts on that one, Nero? Unbinding F2?
It's a double edge. The F2 function is very powerful in the game. You can accomplish a lot and represent almost all of your strength, not queens, but a lot of it. So it's a thing where I think for the process of learning, it's good to use control groups first and use F2 as an emergency option. Sometimes people will grow up with F2 and that's the only thing they use, which makes your play very linear. Ultimately, the way that you approach StarCraft is up to you, especially if you're playing it for fun. You are your own boss on this front, and that's one of the best things about playing this game. So you do you.
Neuro.
All right.
So goddamn wholesome every time.
I didn't use F2 basically forever, and then because I think it's like really, whenever I see fucking observers flying, like every CJ0 game, like his army would die, and then like 10 seconds later, the mothership core would fly into the fucking area and die as well. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, all the observers fly in, and it's like,
well, they got rid of that with the
the wall gets taken out, all these really terrible things. It's like you have scouting zerglings all over the map, and then they all go over here, and it's like, guys, just fucking learn how to use hotkeys, okay? Yeah. This is going to make you better.
I think it's like an airbag where it's used once and it might work, but now you're kind of shit out of luck because you had to use the airbag.
I mean, I also think it depends on the race. Not to be elitist here, but I'm going to come and say something. I think Protoss I think is the worst race nowadays to F2. I think Zerg and Terran you can kind of get away with it more than Protoss.
Roaches can be F2.
But I agree. Sometimes I'll go past a watchtower. I'll be like, why is this Zerg not on the watchtower right now? Where's that Zergling? I'll be like, all right.
That's how you put a drone on the watchtower.
That's how you know that he's sending something else out. Yeah. Actually, Maru, sometimes you'll see him siege a Liberator somewhere where there's no ground on dead airspace. That's so F2 doesn't pull it away.
Yeah, I only use F2 to either all in my opponent because I'm like, I need to go with everything right now, or I'm using it to organize my base after like a huge amount of aggression. Just get all the units together.
I've heard F2 is not that bad on Terran, like because like you have so much rallying and stuff.
It only sucks if you're like,
not that bad.
Yeah, it only sucks if you're putting units around the map for scouting, which you do every game. But yeah,
or
the situation or dictates a lot of it.
Queuing.
Yeah.
Thank you for the question, Red Gunner guy. All right, our very own Alessander asks, "What race is Santa? What is your 2019 highlight moment? Also, happy birthday, Pylon Pefo, Try Asimov, Clark, and Heinlein. The golden age of sci-fi had a great deal of hard sci-fi. I like Rick Shelley's Dirigent Mercenary series too. Oh, and Jim Bernheimer, Prime Suspects." All right.
So that's the answer to the previous question.
Yes. So she has answered some other questions, but what race is Santa and what is your 2019 highlight moment?
Santa's a Protoss.
Santa's a Protoss.
Yeah.
Do
we all agree on that?
How is he a Protoss?
He's a Protoss.
Santa is definitely a Protoss.
If you have to ask.
The only thing that could get you to every house on Earth in time in one night is the Nidus worm.
Right. That's what I'm thinking.
But that'd be too disgusting for Santa.
Warp technology?
Yeah. Creep everywhere.
Yeah, the thing is...
Are we warping in multiple Santas? Oh my God. Because every time Santa warps, he actually dies and it's a new Santa?
Yes.
Oh, we're going to need to nerf Santa.
It's just the legacy of the Void trailer with Santa and like
Santa has a super Pylon.
It's warping in disruptors and void rays instead of actual gateway units.
All right. So
it's co-op Santa. All right.
What was your 2019 highlight moment, everyone?
No Regret versus Sue in Nation Wars.
Oh
That was incredible.
That was pretty good.
That was incredible.
For me, it's tough. It's kind of funny for me because for me, it was me beating Hearthstone, probably most recent for Nation Wars. That win meant a lot to me. It's not funny, but my other big win was beating Neeb on LAN last year. It was December of last year. So it was I love Hearthstone. He's such a good dude. And I love Neeb. So it's like I'm happy about my result, but I like legitimately like don't like bragging too much about it because I feel bad because like I would never mention it to Neeb or Harsh. Like I don't really want to bring it up to him because it's like I feel bad. It's like I love these dudes and I got a good result off them, but I'm like, I'm sorry because I know it's annoying for them because they're like, hey, you lost to a streamer. Like what happened? I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get better.
Okay. I think that shows respect, actually.
Yeah.
What you're saying.
Because Harsam's helped me a lot as well, specifically with builds and stuff. He's been so good to me, and he's got such a level head about the game that it's like I meant a lot to me, but I feel bad for you because you get that people are like, yeah, you lost to a streamer, dude. Like, come on.
I can relate to that. Every time I beat anybody that's like an actual pro player, it always feels terrible. Like some part of me hopes I lose the game when I start to win.
Well, you have a good excuse at least. Like,
yeah.
Guys are actually good at the game.
Winter, what's your highlight of 2019?
I think just Saturday of Home Story Cup 20. The whole day kind of like feeling it felt like it was scripted up like through the draw. And that entire day was just ridiculous from start to finish. And I mean, the Sunday was really good too, but Saturday was like, wow.
What made Saturday the better day?
It just felt like now we're in the playoffs and there's still a lot of different players, and I don't know. Yeah. It just felt like everything was kind of coming together. Sunday was almost too cliche. I feel like it was just super wholesome, but Saturday felt like a perfect combination of being like a tournament and also a community event at the same time.
I have something to add. A quick question to Artosis is that I kind of like when I'm at an event, when I'm at DreamHack or something, the first day is kind of the funnest day when you're checking all the results and you're seeing what people are doing. As a caster, do you like it all equally, or do you like the finals when the hype's built, or do you also kind of like the early stages when you're like, oh my god, look what's happening, and you're kind of bracket checking?
Like within the brackets, like
let's say like there's a DreamHack, like Winter's saying Saturday was his favorite day, but of course the finals were on Sunday. Sometimes the day where all the people are still alive are still more fun than the actual finals.
Yeah.
That as a caster?
I do love checking brackets. Like for instance, if I cast a Katowice or something, there's like so many games going on, and to just go through the brackets, be like, oh my god, this upset happened and stuff. Right. I think that's like in many ways more hype than watching Suver's stats for the 50th time.
Yeah. Okay. That's all I was wondering. You can go.
Nero, what's your highlight of the year?
Mine was easily just seeing the community morale rebound from the grumpiness of us not being in the BlizzCon recap and stuff to Home Story Cup being like a complete knockout of the park community outpouring of love and passion. It seemed like that really demonstrated that we run this community in a very loving and positive and energetic way. We're not going anywhere. The scene is really strong. We have so many excellent people in this community, and yeah, we're not a front runner of the big esport titles right now, but I would prefer this community over any other, and I'm very, very grateful that the community is so excellent. I didn't choose to stream StarCraft because the community was excellent, because I didn't really know the people in the scene. That's been a blessing for me in this journey, so I'm very thankful for all of you.
Oh, that's excellent. For me, my highlight, I think my StarCraft 2 highlight was probably Home Story Cup. I think it was just so much fun, just really great. Yeah, for Brood War, it would be like Corrupted Cup in general. It was just great to have a big tournament like that again, and to win the North American qualifier felt very, very good after getting so old and having so many children and shit like that. So yeah, it was a good year in those regards.
Nice.
All right, thank you for the question. Wurzag asks, so to your conversation earlier, I sometimes stream just for fun or so a friend can watch me play a game. I had a random guy come in chat saying, you sound like Hitler. How do you guys manage to deal with something like that? Do you just ignore it? Ban him? What do you do afterwards to cheer you up? Who is going into someone's like kind of private stream with their one
Sounds
friend
like
and
a
saying
Hitler
they
move,
sound like
to be
Hitler?
honest.
God.
That's
really
a
have to
ban.
ask its Twitch chat. Yeah.
I would meme it really hard to make a joke out of it, and then probably either TO or ban it.
I guess you got to think of it like you got two viewers and one guy comes in and says something like that. You just got to ban it. Like, yeah, I learned pretty early on, even with a handful of viewers, like it's not, you try to deal with it. It's just going to, like, if you entertain it, it's just going to get worse. Like that guy's looking for attention and he's not very clever about it. So just got to cut it out, especially if you're just streaming for your friend.
There's a special kind of nastiness that only occurs online because people can say stuff without being in a state of physical danger. There's a really fun quote I heard from Sea of Whiskey. He's a community member here. He's on a lot of streams.
Yeah,
He said, if you were to say this at one of the rougher bars in town, would you be punched in the face? If yes, you probably shouldn't say it in a Twitch chat because it's rude. A lot of people, they have that set of stuff that they know is rude, but they also know that they're in the comfort of their own home and there's not going to be a direct consequence for that action in a way that's going to harm them. So a lot of those nasty things come out. So with that context, I take those things less personally. It's a pretty cowardly behavior to take shots at someone who's putting themselves out there, putting themselves on display, trying to entertain. It does hurt as well. Like, you're not going to take those kind of comments and be like, oh yeah, it doesn't affect me at all. It does affect you. You would prefer to be liked, you would prefer to be respected, and that kind of stuff.
So ban them.
Answers.
Like,
Everyone's down for that. All right, Warzag, thank you for your question. Ban that guy. T Quick Brown Fox asks, question to everyone except Jason. How much did Beyond's 2016 nomination rely on the Reaper patch? Question to M. Canning. Why do you refuse to take Sal's audio advice and ditch gaming headset mic? All right, so first, everyone but Jason, how much did Beyond's 2016 domination rely on the Reaper patch?
38%.
38%. All right, very specific.
So now that Jason can't respond, it is interesting, isn't it? When a Terran was doing it, it was genius. I also want to say, literally, I feel for you Zerg players for a while. Literally, probably the most broken period of time was when every Terran could go 3x Reaper, and it would like always be fine. It would literally like always be fine. One of my favorite clips is when In Control is asking Hero Marine if it's a good 3x Reaper map, and he's like, basically every map is a good 3x Reaper map. It's like there was a period of time Terran proxy was good, but to be answer seriously, I don't know. I would say not that much. I mean, you just play the meta, and he was playing the meta, and he was doing what was good. And I miss those Beyond streams, man. There was, even though he didn't really speak and he played pop music, there was something special about it. So, yeah.
Any other answers from non-Jason members of the Pylon show?
I thought it was kind of upsetting as a Zerg player seeing the finals of that 3x Reaper being such a big part of the games. And seeing Zerg lose to that, it's really discouraging because sometimes you have a certain style that you struggle with on the ladder. And then when you're watching the pro games, you want to look for a viable solution to that. And when you consistently see it work, you're kind of like, well, I guess this is just our life now.
Yeah. All right. And the other question here, question to M. Canning. Why do you refuse to take Sal's, it's Uppetry Zelda, audio advice and ditch the gaming headset mic?
Well, you know, it's
whatever you do, don't go with a Blue Yeti. Please keep the headset over Blue Yeti. Anything.
I have a spare Blue Yeti. Do you want a Blue Yeti?
Okay,
yeah, Cobra made me get a new mic when we started the Pylon show because I had a Blue Yeti at that point.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
I feel like in my mind, like Sal is the type of guy that like has everything to the top level. And I'm like, okay, how many people are actually leaving my stream because of my mic? I mean, will there be people?
Sal.
I mean, I guess it's possible. But it's like, yes, could I improve my mic quality? I suppose. But I don't know.
Give the MLG 2006 Halo vibe to people.
Right. Yeah, honestly, some of the best top streamers have trash mics. So
shout out to Parting, who also has a Blue Yeti, but somehow makes
Tyler
it
one.
Well, yeah, they play off the bad quality though because they put it in their esophagus and they scream.
Jason, I know you are in Sal's corner here, so don't think Sal's probably DMing you right now, telling you what to say.
No. I agree with you. However, think of it from the viewer's perspective. People want to see you and hear you sound nice. That's all. What
happens if this is my fake voice and I get a real mic and everyone hates it and they're like, "Oh my God, I'm canning."
I will
then go back.
100 subs.
Will the damage already be done?
100 subs. Okay, I'm gonna change mics, get someone to say they hate my mic, and then come to you. Sounds like
there's no replacement for good content.
Look,
content
now he sounds like Hitler. Like I don't.
Right.
Polish is still very valuable.
Right. There's value to both for sure.
So no switching anytime soon away from your MLG
Fuck
420
off,
no
Sal.
scope. Blaze it. headset.
If Sal wants to throw me some dollar bills in my PayPal, then yeah, I'll think about it. But no promises, Sal.
All right. Thank you, T Quick Brown Fox, for those questions and the very weird seclusion there of Jason. That was very
Appropriate.
interesting. Yeah. All right. One more question here. GGE Mini 19 asks.
Oh,
I've been having a lot of troubles ever since I became an MCamming subscriber because there are just hordes of fangirls constantly at my front door asking for autographs. I tried to show them my fake undershirts to get them away, but it didn't work. How do you deal with this constant hassle MCanning?
Yeah, that, as an MCAN, any MCAN subscriber can relate to this. It's not easy. It's not easy. A lot of times I'll have to catfish people on Tinder because, when they see me and they say, that's an MCAN subscriber, they're going to be throwing me super likes. They're going to be in it for my, for my fame. And as an MCAN fan member, I had a guy the other day came at me and said, MCanning, I just put on my resume, MCanning subscriber, got the job. So it is tough having this much freedom. You just got to balance it. Sometimes you got to lie about it. It's not pretty, but, to stay out of the spotlight, you might have to lie sometimes. Good luck out there. It's not easy.
Sounds rough.
It's tough.
Yeah. All right. Well, that just about does it. Just a fantastic show, guys. Thank you so much. Let me quickly mention once again how you guys out there can support wonderful episodes such as this one. Check out patreon.com/The Pylon Show. Once again, I want to mention that we have some cool behind the scenes pre-game audio that we're releasing.
They did not tell us this
episode. Oh yeah. Oh, they told
Good
you.
to know. Good to know.
You got to read the fine lines.
I can't read.
That is a problem then. So definitely check it out. Go to patreon.com/The Pylon Show. And of course, check out thepylonshow.com. That's where you can get all of your Pylon Show needs. A big thanks to all of our Pylon Show Patreon people. Really, really appreciate you all, especially the $100 members, Astrofin, Field of Sins, Jerry Wang, and Manard. You guys are really helping to support quite a bit. So thank you very, very much to that. Also, do check out matcherino.com/The Pylon Show and contribute to our prize pool. Hit the contribute button, type in cookies. Look at that. You just gave us money. That's so sick. Money can just be made to appear on this website. Eventually it will break the economy. Please go and do that on matcherino.com/The Pylon Show. Yeah, and that is about that for the show. Guys, again, this was just a fantastic episode. So much fun. Let's go around here where people can see more of you and all that. Jason, where can people check you out? Where can they get more of the Juggle Knight?
It's twitch.tv/JuggernautJason. I want to give a shout out to Artosis for having me on again. It was a fun time. Neuro, you are my passion animal. I love you. Winter, you are my inspiration for work ethic. And MCanning, you are my inspiration for memes. I love you. I know we memed a lot today, and about 90% of it was memes. I am a little bit not happy about the map pool, but I still love you, buddy.
All right. I'll know what to go at next time.
All right.
MCanning, how about you? Where can people find more of you?
Twitch.tv/MCanning. Of course, thank you so much. I had a blast on my first Pylon show. I also want to give a massive shout out to my team, Chivo. We just signed a player, Tudming. I think it's really cool that Chivo has got their foot in the door in StarCraft as a, still fairly new team. And they've been supporting me. And I think it's awesome to see teams trying to make a go out of it in StarCraft. I think it's not always easy. And I really appreciate my team, and I appreciate what they're trying to do and what all StarCraft teams are trying to do. And, thanks to the fans who are watching me. And Twitch.tv/MCanning, I stream almost every day. And thanks for having me, guys. It was fun.
Great. Winter, how about you? Where can people find more?
Twitch.tv/Winter Gaming. I also do a YouTube video every day. I actually, my favorite thing I'm doing on YouTube is first person casting, where I switch between the player perspectives and I cast from their perspectives, which I think is a lot more intense, and it really cuts down on the balance complaints when people get vertigo in the first 4 minutes of the game, just trying to keep up. It's a lot of fun.
It's a fun idea.
And I want to thank Artosis for inviting me, of course. And also, I learned a lot from you at Home Story because I'm sitting there talking all day. actually casting with other people. It took a while to get used to it, but you helped out a lot with that. So thanks for that. So
Okay.
check me out there. And thank you guys for playing in matches and casting with me whenever that happens. And I hope it happens more often.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And Nero, how about you?
Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Patreon, NeuroZerg. I'm doing podcast content now for the first time this year. Cobra Venom has helped a whole bunch with that. It's called The Voice of Neuro. We've got philosophy, we've got politics. The next topic coming up is how to play StarCraft with limited time. I already have the notes all typed up for that. Wink, wink. And then we also have some scouting videos that I'm doing. I'm trying to do a full game flow scouting guide for Zerg players, early, mid, and late, when to get those key reads. Big shout to Cobra Venom for helping me with my new set of peripherals. I don't know shit about technology. To describe myself, I'm kind of like a forest monk who rolled into a stream studio. I don't know what the best mic is or the best camera. People like Up a Tree and Cobra have been really helpful for me, just ironing out those business side technology polish aspects of the channel. Body Pop rocked that art that we have at the top there with the two snakes in the background. People in the chat, in Twitch chat, people in the comments on the StarCraft subreddit, I hope you realize how valuable you are to us. I know that we have the camera on us, we're mic'd up, so it seems like we're in the spotlight, and we are, but this wouldn't be fun, it wouldn't be exciting if it wasn't for you and your energy. The copy pastas, the emotes, the jokes in the chat, all of that is really exciting and fresh, and you really drive the energy of the scene, so thank you very much.
Awesome. And guys, I just want to thank you all again for coming on. This has been great. A big cheers to the Pylon Show staff for getting the show together. As for me, there are no broadcasts professionally whatsoever since the KSL finals until next year. So I am going to be streaming a lot and doing more YouTube stuff, which I'm really working on. So big thanks to everyone who is willing to give a follow, a sub, anything like that. And for supporting the Pylon Show. We will be back next week, and we will see you then. Thank you for watching.
Bye.
Shout out to the Pylon Show, the greatest show on the internet.